Do you really believe that garbage?
It's not about a believing, it's a matter of fact.
So you believe...
Well, nobody else could make a decision but me because I was the president. The final decision comes to the president.
You know, it's easy enough for a Monday morning quarterback to say what the coach should have done after the game's over. But when the decision is up before you, and on my desk I have a motto which says the buck stops here, the decision has to be made.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
And I want to say this to the television audience. I made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, that I could say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
President?
Yep.
Mr. President, I want to raise an issue that I think you've been lurking out there for 2 or 3 weeks and casting specifically in national security terms. You already are the oldest president in history, and some of your staff say you were retired after your most recent encounter with Mr. Mondale. I recall yet that President Kennedy had to go for days on end with very little sleep during the Cuba Missile Crisis. Is there any doubt in your mind that you would be able to function in such circumstances?
Not at all, Mr. Truitt, and I want you to know that also I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience.
And I'm the one who will not raise taxes. My opponent now says he'll raise them as a last resort or a third resort. But when a politician talks like that, you know that's one resort he'll be checking into. And my opponent won't rule out raising taxes, but I will, and the Congress will push me to raise taxes, and I'll say no. And they'll push, and I'll say no. And they'll push again, and I'll say to them, read my lips. No new taxes.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you.
No, shush. Shush.
Fellas, we gotta talk. A lot of men seem to think that Donald Trump is some kind of tough guy. He's not. I mean, look at him. He wears more makeup than Dolly Parton. He whines like a baby. The guy's afraid of birds. Donald Trump had his daddy pay a doctor to say his Will feet hurt so he could dodge the draft. Look at that gut, like a garbage bag full of buttermilk. He sells imaginary baseball cards pretending to be a cowboy fireman. Guy's barely strong enough to hold an umbrella. I mean, look how he drinks water. Like a little pink chickadee. He's got jugs, big ones, like Dolly Parton. He cheats at golf. He creeps around beauty pageant dressing rooms. You know that little dance he does? He looks like he's jacking off a pair of giraffes. He's moody, he pouts, he throws tantrums.
No, get those lights off!
He acts like a 5-year-old behind the wheel of a truck. He bends over for Putin, He's cattier on social media than a middle school bean girl. The guy needs help walking downhill. Almost there, Grandma. So this November, let's stop kidding ourselves. Donald Trump is afraid of rain, of dogs, of windmills, Merle Streep, and being laughed at.
Isn't it past your jail time?
But mostly, he's terrified that real red-blooded American men will find out that he's a weak, tubby toddler.
Mommy, take me home, Mommy. I want to go home.
What's wrong, tough guy? Did someone grab you by the Why, you bitch.
Looking forward by guys who can still see the room.
In any country, prison is where society sends its failures. But in this country, society itself is failing.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
You crazy.
Grab him by the pussy.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Shut your mouth, because you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I did.
Hold it, tough guy. I'm not afraid of physical. Hold it.
Don't sit there and tell me I'm not.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. Stand back and stand by. Will you shut up, man?
Last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life to her. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
You gotta come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Okay. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. We now have a gun on every table. We're ready to start shooting.
By the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm. That would take care of it. This is the same man.
Sarcastic.
That was...
Even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that? You believe that? That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this
I'd like to
investigation?
punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
If I may ask
Peter,
one
go
other
ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's
Mr.
enough.
President, I was going to ask one of the
I
other...
don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That's exactly what it is.
Got it on tape.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse.
How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every poll?
No, no, sit down.
Oh, you're a clown.
Sit down. Look at you.
You're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts, alternative facts, alternative facts, alternative facts.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your.
I ain't talking politics. I'm talking life.
I ain't talking politics. I'm talking life.
All right, here we go again for another TFP Tuesday. This is Van Cat, and I am back with the world's most dangerous political panel. Episode number 56, Lies Have Consequences, and this is a Trump's Lovefest. So, right off the bat, let's look at the panel. So on the panel today, we got Ricardo. What's going on, Ricardo?
What to do, y'all? We at it again, another episode. I can't believe we're at episode 56 already. Good Lord. But yeah, we here. We live, and we're here to debunk the disgusting truth about Sir Lie a Lot.
Sir Lie a Lot, yep. Yep, you know, Donald Trump, the guy that's suffering from diabetes, you know, he just can't help it. Just can't help it. Also on the panel, we got the political prophet amongst mere mortal men, MD20. What's going on, MD?
Peace, what's going on? I'm going through clan land right now. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll probably be going in and out probably for the next 10, 15 minutes or so. But peace, what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah, I've been having problems with the connection myself. I've been trying to upload some videos that I was actually going to start the show with, but I can't get them uploaded. So I'll just have to go to the next. Yeah, so this show pretty much, we're going to cover, obviously, the big thing going on right now, the so-called joke that was in the Madison Square Garden rally that they had for Donald Trump. It seemed like he had a lot of guests, not just that comedian, but other guests that are not comedians, just spewing out all kinds of hateful rhetoric. So we want to take a look at that. So bear with us a moment. The show got a little altered, but we're gonna start with that. And before I start specifically with that video, I do want to play what Donald Trump said days before the Madison Square Garden incident with the stupid so-called joke that was made about Puerto Rico. Donald Trump in a rally days before that, he had something to say about how he feels about America and the way he looks at America. It's a short clip, 40 seconds. Let's take a look.
President Donald Trump, for his part, is trying out a new line about his view of America. Take a listen.
We're a dumping ground. We're like a garbage can for the world. That's what's happened. That's what's happened to our. We're like a garbage can. We're like a garbage can. You know, it's the first time I've ever said that. And every time I come up and talk about what they've done to our country, I get angrier and angrier. First time I've ever said garbage can, but you know what? It's a very accurate description.
Okay, there we go. So before we go into the other video, Any thoughts from the panel? But we'll start with Ricardo. Any thoughts on that clip?
No thoughts other than I've heard him say a couple weeks back the same agitated bullcrap is now surfacing to the with this nonsense. America becoming the garbage can. I know but I've never said anything like that. This is my first. He's been saying quite some time. I think I remember hearing him say something a week and a half ago about that. So and he's entitled to his opinion. I mean, some people might say, hey, he's allowed to say what he feels and yada yada yada. Truth be told, people have always been coming to America. It's the place that everybody wants to come to. It's the place that has been ingrained in most immigrants' mind to come to. It's the land of wealth and opportunity. So in his head, I hate this premise that they're using that, hey, all these criminals and all these people are coming here and they're making this country a garbage dump. The actual for actual I guess indexes and what that shows like what has been curtailing or what's been happening since the 90s until now begs to differ in terms of that in terms of what he's saying, because he's saying all the criminals and all these people are coming here and it's making this country worse. In actuality, that's not the case. And so there's a lot of things he's saying, and again, it's coming down to the dog whistling to certain people that he's trying to register or whistle to, and of course they're going to get all ingrained to be like, yeah, he's right, and it's nothing but a whole bunch of rhetoric that he's using to then drum up the support that he needs. Is there criminals coming into this country? I mean, I wouldn't discount it. I'm sure there's criminals going elsewhere as well. But for you to then say that it's becoming the dumping ground of, the world and all of that, that's a bit much to me. But, again, I digress. He's doing it to do the and we'll see if that helps his cause come next Wednesday when we're in the final stretch of making our final votes for who we think should be a leader.
All right, thanks, Ricardo. MD, what are your thoughts about the video we saw just now with Trump calling America a garbage can, a garbage bin? What do you think in general of a candidate who is vying for votes from United States citizens days before this election, calling America in general a dumping ground? What do you think?
Well, he knew what he was doing when he said it. Again, to use Ricardo's term, he is a dog whistle. You know exactly what he meant when he said it in the context, talking about immigrants as of now. I would argue America was started as a garbage can. I mean, if we're going to keep it real, hell, we all trash. You know what I mean? The people that came here from Europe,
Just the lame
trash.
ducks, MD. Just the lame ducks.
Trash. I mean, literally, to use my state as an example, it was a colony full of criminals that King George let out. Literally, they gave so much for reverence to King George. They named it George, and then they didn't even want to gain independence in the Congress in the Continental Congress. So, like, what are we talking about? America was founded as a garbage can. Hell, the throwaways in Africa that were through colonialism and I guess you would say hierarchy in the African tribes. Black Americans are trash, literally. We were the throwaways. We can go on down the list. Ellis Island. People didn't have shit in Europe. Trash. Potato famine, the Irish, trash. And I can go on and on and on up until this point. So he really wasn't saying nothing when he said it. He dog whistled to the people that now believe that somehow they have the ultimate stake in America and nobody else is allowed in. Doors closed. Turn the sign over. That's what it's really about. And that's not just for a specific group of people, that's for everybody. As we'll go on in the show, Stephen Miller infamously said at the rally, America is for Americans only. What does that mean? I'm an American. You talking about me? Van Cat, you're an American. Ricardo, you're an American. What does that mean? Be specific in what you're talking about. So at the end of the day, it was a dog whistle. America is a trash country. It was founded as a trash country. It just so happens you can dig in that trash and make a profit.
All right. Yeah, it's crazy though. The way politics is today and the stuff that can be said, it's just outrageous. So speaking of outrageous, let's go now to the video. News clips speaking on the Madison Square Garden rally. I mean, Hitler was there in the 1930s in New York, so it's only right that Donald Trump go there as well. So here we go. We're gonna look at some Puerto Rican trash, as they would say.
Doing is they are targeting various groups to make sure that they are hitting the polls ahead of that November 5th election. Today, it was faith leaders. We've seen them do this with women and other various groups. And as you noted, it comes at a time where Donald Trump's team is really facing an enormous amount of backlash, not just from Democrats, but also from some Republicans over controversial comments that were not made by the former president, but actually by speakers before the former president even took the stage last night at Madison Square Garden. We heard a series of vulgar, sexist, and racist remarks by various Trump allies that caused really an uproar among both Democrats and, again, some Republicans. Take a listen to just some of what was said.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
She is the devil, whoever screamed that out. She is the Antichrist.
Her and her pimp handlers will destroy our country. She is some sick bastard, that Hillary Clinton, huh? What a sick son of a bitch. The whole party, a bunch of degenerates. Lowlives, Jew haters, and lowlives.
Heck yeah, it's a cool black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that, a lampshade? I'm just kidding, that's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun, we carved watermelons together.
America is for Americans and Americans only.
And these Latinos, they love making babies too, just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country.
Kamala Harris, she got 85 million votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president.
When it comes to Israel and Palestine, we're all thinking the same thing. Settle your stuff already. Best out of 3. Rock, paper, scissors. You know the Palestinians are going to throw rock every time. But you also know the Jews have a hard time throwing that paper. You know what I'm saying?
Are condemning the Trump campaign after Hinchcliffe's remarks.
Well, CBS News Philadelphia's Josh Sanders has local reaction after the comedian described Puerto Rico, as you heard there, as a floating island of garbage.
So I hope that people are as pissed off as all of us are, and that we show him the kind of people we really are.
Enough is enough, folks. I've had it.
Puerto Rican leaders in Philadelphia expressed outrage over offensive, crude, and racist remarks from comedian Tony Hinchcliffe during former President Donald Trump's rally in Madison Square Garden over the weekend.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Eddie Moran is mayor of Reading, the Commonwealth's 4th largest city, where 70% of its community identifies as Latino.
The garbage he spoke about is polluting our elections and confirming just how little Donald Trump cares about Latinos, specifically about our Puerto Rican community.
Sunday, Vice President Harris visited Freddie and Tony's, a historic Puerto Rican restaurant in North Philly. Both campaigns are courting the Latino community in Pennsylvania as a crucial voting bloc to win the White House.
I'm going to create basically an opportunity economy task force for Puerto Rico.
Harris addressed the comments earlier today.
Fans the fuel of hate and division, and that's why people are exhausted with him.
Meanwhile, Trump is distancing himself from Hinchcliffe. In a statement from the campaign's senior advisor, Danielle Alvarez, this joke does not reflect the views of President Trump or the campaign. Philadelphia City Council member Ketsi Lazada, who is Puerto Rican, says his actions say otherwise.
On November 5th, we need to show Donald Trump and all his moron friends that Puerto Ricans have a voice and that we matter and that we need to be respected.
And those Latino leaders believe the comedian's comments will actually galvanize the Latino vote for Harris, as we're just 8 days away from Election Day. Josh Sanders, CBS News, Philadelphia.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Well, we've seen the video, we've seen what he said, and he basically insulted the whole Puerto Rican community.
I'm sorry, I don't know anyone who watched that and is like, this is what I believe in, this is what I want my kids to see.
From ABC's The View.
We are Americans, Donald Trump.
To cell phone family chat groups.
I am seeing rage, offended, insulted.
So my phone hasn't stopped ringing, and it may be the October surprise that everyone keeps talking about.
It felt like he kind of October surprised himself.
To the nonpartisan Puerto Rican Bar Association of Florida.
You can't really defend what he said. Jokes are okay. Jokes are okay, but the timing and the setting for the joke is very important.
Swift bipartisan blowback in South Florida to what a comedian said about Puerto Rico at a Trump rally Sunday.
How could this be possible? Again,
a reference to this 2017 moment when then President Donald Trump tossed rolls of paper towels at Hurricane Maria victims in Puerto Rico.
People make mistakes, I guess, but it was extremely disrespectful,
really stuck with a lot of us.
It hurt deeply.
And then, so what do you think when you see the Trump campaign distancing themselves from those remarks, and then you see some GOP leaders also condemning those remarks?
I think it's too little, too late.
And take a look at this. We continue to see throughout the day some GOP lawmakers weighing in. In this case, you are looking at a post onto the X platform by U.S. Senator from Florida, Marco Rubio. You'll see there he says that Puerto Rico isn't garbage and tries to make a distinction between the comedian and Trump, saying he understands why some were offended by this insult comedian, but says at the end of the day, those were not Trump words. Back here live, where I can tell you why we did find broad consensus across party lines about the condemnation of the remarks, mixed opinions when it came to whether or not folks think it's going to impact this election, which is just days away.
All right, so there we go. And to reply to Mr. Straight Talk, we haven't covered it yet. That'll be a little bit later in the show. So this time we'll go to MD. MD, what are your thoughts about this particular situation where you have, it's not just the one guy. I don't even need to say, I don't care for the guy. But even before this, I didn't even care for the guy. But before this, that killed Tony guy, I don't care for him. Even before, after him, throughout the night, there was just a buffet of hate that was going on. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that situation there?
Well, I'll cover the Puerto Rican thing first because, that's the most prominent. To be honest, I don't have an issue with the joke. I have an issue with the context, or let me say the confines within the joke as it pertains to the rally itself. You don't make a joke like that contextually without relating it to what you're talking about. And that's exactly what he did. Before he said that specific joke, he was specifically talking about immigration, specifically. He did the joke where he said, he He welcomed immigrants with open arms and telling them no, don't come. So it's all about context. If that joke was in a comedy special, whatever, I wouldn't have had no issue with. Not even the black, like, that's comedy. I get it. Everybody
But
talk
MD,
about everybody. Go ahead.
but MD, okay, so you just said about immigration, right? And
Right.
foreigners coming. Puerto
Right.
Ricans are American citizens. So how does that joke?
I was gonna get to that.
Okay,
That's the stupidity in what I'm talking about. He
okay.
he tried to contextualize, or he tried to relate Puerto Ricans to immigrants, which is like false. You know what I'm saying? So that's the stupidity of it. So again, we have to and I'm with you, Van Cat. I don't particularly like Tony Hinchcliffe, my damn self. The guy who's funny on Kill Tony, I forget the guy's name. The guy that does the Trump impersonation. Now he's funny. Why they didn't have him up there?
Because Trump.
You don't think Trump would have liked that, huh?
Yeah, no, he wouldn't like it.
Yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe is a jackass. But again, he's part of that whole circle with Joe Rogan and all them people. Like, all them people are idiots at the end of the day. But it's all about the context. He tried to make a correlation within the confines of the speech dealing with immigration and Trump. He failed at it. That's why he's getting so much backlash. They chewing his ass out for something that wasn't even correct. How stupid can you be? You know what I mean? So, and going back to the point, context is everything again. All the speakers before him made it quite clear what they felt about immigration in totality, not just a specific group, in totality. What Stephen Miller said, America for the Americans, is a specific quote to 1939, the Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden, where the German American boom guy said the very thing verbatim. How dumb can we be as a people not to see the correlation? Even to the point where you got dumbasses like Hulk Hogan trying to gaslight you and say, "Oh, I don't see any Nazis in here, brother." Well, what are you bringing that up for? If it's not a Nazi rally, why are you bringing it up? These people cannot be so. They dumb, Fat Cat. They stupid. All of them. They're dumb. They can't even hide the symbolism behind it. They can't even hide it. It's like having a new toy and your mom telling you don't take it out the house, but you got to show everybody. It's dumbassery at the end of the day. It's dumbassery. I even heard a report earlier today saying that every speaker that came up on that podium Sunday, their speeches were vetted. They said that the Tony Hinchcliffe guy, his speech got proofread, and they took out something where he was calling Kamala a cunt, and they took that out. Said, no, we can't have that. You can say the stuff about Puerto Rico, but you can't say, you know what I'm saying? And they say no. They say no. He ad-libbed that. I mean, believe what you want. At the end of the day, it was all about the context and what the overall message was in that rally, and that directly correlated. Even though it incorrectly correlated, it directly correlates with what the message was that night.
All right, MD. Ricardo, what's your thoughts on Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, it was when I say a firestorm, like that was what, over the weekend. It ignited a lot of backlash. To me, I never understood. Like, again, that none of them were funny, because there's some people that come out and are extremely funny, and they will say their piece. You're like, I get the joke. I didn't really care for the joke, but like MD mentioned, where it becomes a little bit all over the place is when you tie in immigration with Puerto Rico. If you have common sense, if you've done social studies, and I keep repeating this on the show, the U.S. has territories and it has places that are, if you, one of the infamous things that the U.S. did was Manifest Destiny. If you don't know what that is, it's like a whole thing where the U.S. wanted to spread out across the world, and it got a whole bunch of places. And one of them was, it could have been Cuba, but it would end up being Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico in Spanish means rich port. There's a lot of history that comes with Puerto Rico. You do not want to say anything that's negatively sparred against Puerto Rico, because there's a huge affluent community in where, let's not forget, New York, the same place that they were doing the damn stupid rally at. Like, how dumb could you? It was so bad today that they were doing a whole, I guess there's a whole thing that they were doing at Mar-a-Lago today, and not once did they mention it because they knew that it was. You also have a huge affluent Puerto Rican community in Orlando. You don't touch certain things. There's certain jokes you just don't go with. I'm not sure why they didn't do them more carefully, but Trump was so distant, he didn't even mention anything about Puerto Rico today, because he knows well. Because he has to go again and speak to most people in Pennsylvania, I think tomorrow, which is a conference. It was bad. I didn't. And worse, it was a Canadian comedian that did the whole joke. Again, I don't find him funny. I don't know who some of these people are. They're just not that funny. They were just rambling and going on and on. It's a whole.
Excuse me one moment, Ricardo. Sorry to interrupt. What's the name's in the he's in the queue right now trying to get on the panel, but I just have to ask Patrick T, if you could just turn on your camera just for a second, please. All right, Ricardo, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So yeah, to bring it down to just a bit, Puerto Rico is very much a West. If you've never been there, you're not missing that much. It's pretty much like you're being on mainland. It's just that you're in a Caribbean island. Very much part of the U.S. They're allowed. They're very much a territory. You have U.S. Virgin Islands. You have Puerto Rico. You have U.S. Samoan Islands. You have a whole. I could go on the U.S. Marshall Islands. If you guys don't know your geography and you don't know your and again, Google's your best advantage here, and also YouTube, which is a part of Google. Go on there and look up stuff that pertains to the United States. I don't understand how this became a thing. People are arguing, again, the MAGA group, because they don't know nothing at all, are arguing with me and talking about, oh, you can say whatever. No, you cannot say that about Puerto Rico. They are very much a part of the U.S. What are you doing? Like, how much time are you guys gonna fall for the same nonsense over and over again, regurgitating foolishness, and then you guys are gonna then back up the same foolishness all over again? It doesn't make sense. It's that bad that he has to distance himself. He knows the backlash will be heavy. Again, Southern Florida has a huge Latino community. There's certain things you cannot touch on, and it's gonna be like one of those things that will follow him to the polls. Again, your group, do whatever you want to do. It didn't affect me. Even the joke with the watermelon. Again, what was that? But if you understand the context of what he went for, you kind of can't miss the opportunity of saying, like, hey, man, that was just distasteful. But did it affect me that much? No. But I could get how it's like one of those things where people are going to be like, hey, yeah, the whole watermelon thing. Because if you don't know a lot about history, again, Black people in this country were very, prevalent when it came to like being successful with watermelon. And then of course white supremacy had to use that because whenever they see us become successful, we've seen it time and time again with the Black Wall Street. We've seen it with certain riots in certain towns because, hey, Black people are being successful, we can't allow that to happen. So they're jealous, and then they turn and say, oh, it's a negative thing. So that's where people about the whole watermelon joke. It was one of those things where it's stoked in history. And it's just all around just this thing. I didn't get it. I affect me that much, but I get, again, the historicalness wasn't funny to the degree of where they were going for. The juggler was terrible. And if they were going to go for that MD, again, that would have been a huger, if that's a word, a bigger backlash, because you can't be calling the running mate a cunt. Like, this is how lowbrow we're getting now. Again, it doesn't surprise me, but there's certain pedigrees we go for when it comes to election. This is not it. You know what I mean? But I digress. This is where I just can't wait for all this to be over, because it's just getting real with all this we're going for. But how are we to be surprised by this? Nah.
All right, thanks, Ricardo. Again, Patrick T, if you could just please just turn on your camera just for a moment so we could just verify that you are you and you're not a troll or whatever. Just turn on your camera just for a moment, please.
Hey, Venkat, if you got an overlay, put the overlay up. I'm saying if you want to let him up, put the overlay up. That way he don't like.
Oh, he did it. He did it. It's all good.
Okay, all right.
It's all good. All right, so we're going to welcome to the panel, Patrick T. What's going on, sir?
Hey, what's going on, Vet Cat? I'm still waiting for that bell on Down Goes Frazier. You need to add that bell.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
It's going to be great. Down Goes Frazier. Man, I am just shocked. Trump had to come out with a new hit, and his new hit from Haitians is now Puerto Rico. And it's just more of the same hate that he always feels. I'd put in the chat the link of 200 clinical psychologists showed that he reports antisocial disorder, paranoid social disorder, and malignant narcissism, and due to his sadism. And 200 clinical psychiatrists reported that. And how is he still running for president? That's what I want to know. And it's just unbelievable to me. And I mean, does the newspapers want those stories so bad that they will allow this man to be president again?
And do you think that next week he's going to win, lose, or indifferent?
I would like the polls to be at 13. That's what I would like. If the polls were at 13 points, then I think with the polls are already 13 points behind, but unfortunately we're losing black men, but we're gaining with the just to be honest, I know that the white men will go and go to the rally, go give her money, go support her campaign, and then don't vote for her. Ask Stacey Abrams. And I think to offset that, I think we need 13 points. But with, even though she's getting these big the rallies, she's not pulling the numbers Obama pulled. Obama pulled 75,000 in Wisconsin. So I'm worried. But
I'm glad you're saying that, because there's a piece that we're going to touch on a little bit later, actually talking about Obama, about Harris's lack of drawing specifically black men. It's been a contentious conversation that we've had like for the last several weeks. So there's a piece we're going to go into that as well. But before we continue, we do want to continue with the Trump train, and we're going to look now at, because this show is about lies. Lies have consequences. And let's go back to 2016. We're going to, courtesy of Frontline, they do great work at Frontline and PBS. We're going to look at a little piece here focusing on when Ted Cruz went up against Donald Trump in the primaries, in particular one state that Ted Cruz was able to win. Let's observe and let's look at how Donald Trump handled that situation. And keep in mind, this is 2016.
He won Iowa in 2016.
Right.
Ted Cruz did.
Right. So keep in mind, this is not Trump saying the election was stolen in 2020 or even after 2016. This is before the general election even occurred. And see where his sweet spot is and how he verbalizes how he feels about a loss. So let's watch this. It's not that long a clip, about 4 minutes, and we'll be back with the panel views.
White lives matter! White lives warnings ignored.
I alone can fix it.
Get the host in place, we gotta go. 30 seconds. Let's get quiet in studio.
The warnings about the threat to democracy were there from the very beginning.
Some breaking news for you now. Fox News can now project that Texas Senator Ted Cruz has won Iowa.
Ted Cruz wins the Republican contest here in Iowa.
Tonight is a victory for courageous conservatives across Iowa and all across this great nation.
Senator Ted Cruz had defeated Donald Trump in the first contest for the 2016 presidential nomination.
Ted Cruz took on Donald Trump toe-to-toe and prevailed.
Clearly, a majority of Iowans didn't want to make a deal with Donald Trump.
It's going to be very interesting to see how Donald Trump will react to the fact that he's now been beaten.
The big question now, how is Donald Trump going to handle a loss?
Trump's response, a sign of what was to come.
Ted Cruz didn't win Iowa, he stole it.
You have tweeted that Senator Ted Cruz stole the Iowa election.
Everything about it was disgraceful. It was a fraud as far as I was concerned.
The state of Iowa should disqualify Ted Cruz from the most recent election on the basis that he cheated, a total fraud.
Knowing what we know now, I think you would go back to February 1st of 2016 as the beginning.
It's a total voter fraud when you think of it. And actually, I came in probably first, if you think about it.
That episode was a bright red blinking light foreshadowing everything that was to come. And just what a danger to democracy that this man posed.
This is a pattern for Trump. He has done this every step of the way through his career, long before politics. When The Apprentice lost an Emmy to The Amazing Race, he claimed that the Emmy contest was rigged.
Amazing Race winning an Emmy again is a total joke. The Emmys have no credibility. The Emmys are all politics. That's why The Apprentice never won.
The public is smart. They know it's a con game.
I have just called President Obama to congratulate him on his victory.
He claimed that the election was rigged in 2012 when Mitt Romney, whom he had endorsed, lost to Barack Obama.
This election is a total sham and a travesty. We are not a democracy. More reports of voting machines switching Romney votes to Obama. Let's fight like hell and stop this great and disgusting injustice. We can't let this happen. We should march on Washington.
Every step along the way, anything he has ever lost is because somebody else has cheated and stolen it from him.
For those watching closely, it was a signal of trouble ahead.
This certainly was a moment that set off alarm bells. To be a small d Democrat means to know how to lose elections. And a democracy can't survive if politicians and political parties don't know how to lose. I mean, sometimes people have even said democracy is for losers. It's a system that allows losers to come back and fight another day. And so if the losers deny that they've lost, the system can't endure.
All right, there we go. There we go. Donald Trump in all his glory. So as you can see, he has a history of saying and doing what he's done countless times. He did it to Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton took I believe it was 8 hours after the election just to make sure if she really did lose. And at the time, the Trump campaign and Donald Trump was saying, look how she's not conceding. Everything this guy does is projection. And there's a movie out right now called The Apprentice, and it looks at his origins of being trained to have this kind of mindset where you never admit defeat. You always talk louder than everybody else in the room. All the classic Trumpisms that we have seen. Now, we've seen it now for almost 10 years. And some people are not able to identify these plots and tactics that he does. But for those that know, you know. Here we go. Donald Trump not able to handle a loss like a toddler. MD, what do you think about that video package we just saw?
Shout out to you for mentioning The Apprentice. Hey, to me, it was a good movie. I saw it last week while I was off, and you're exactly right. He learned this strategy from Roy Cohn, his former attorney. He learned it. This ain't something that he innately had in him. This started, ironically enough, when they got sued over the discrimination lawsuit about the leasing of black people. That's where this all started at. Ironically enough, that's how we learned to gaslight people, because that's what it is. It's a gaslight strategy. I mentioned this book before, a good read on how Donald Trump gaslit America. One of the chapters in the book is dedicated to the Iowa caucus in 2016, because it was a gaslight tactic. He gaslit Iowa. Well, not let me say, because he didn't have the opportunity to gaslight Iowa. He used the Iowa caucuses to gaslight the rest of the states. Remember, the Iowa caucuses at that point in time for the Republicans was the first primary. He used the gaslighting tactic of calling a falsehood and a sham with the election to all the other Republican states, well, all the other Republican voters in the primary, to put a doubt in their mind as to what truly was. Nobody was rocking with Trump at the beginning of 2016. Nobody. That was an example of showing you that was correct. Everybody, the American Republican took Trump as a joke until he didn't make it funny anymore by gaslighting and fear mongering and sowing seeds of doubt in terms of what was and what wasn't. And he succeeded. Lo and behold, he became president after the 2016 election. Now, what he's doing is playing the long game. Same tactic being used. He's just playing the long game. He gaslit the last inkling of MAGA maniacs in 2020 with a strategy that was going to last 4 years. Now we at the precipice. And now we'll see if that gaslighting tactic held any weight, because come next Tuesday, we'll know. Did it work or not? Because that's all he's been doing for the past 4 years. Gaslight. Telling falsehoods, sowing seeds of doubt, having it shroud in mystery and obscurity, and leaving it up to put your tinfoil hat on and maybe have a some sort of semblance in your mind, believing the stuff that he say. That's just a fact. So also, Venkat, you might want to timestamp that clip. Chances are it's probably going to get deleted. I'm just letting you know now.
I don't think so, because it's PBS. I think they want people to see that.
Okay.
Anything else on that, MD?
Nah, that's it.
All right, thank you. So we'll go to Ricardo. Ricardo, what are your thoughts here? Do you think that there are going to be consequences for the lies being told?
If there was going to be consequences, seen that done by SCOTUS, and we all saw what that result was. So someone's out there holding out hope. I really doubt there is. The clip did bring up a good point, and I'm glad broadcasting service has these things, these, imminent, I wouldn't say, but like pieces of history planted together so that people are able to remember the discourse and think go 16. It's unbelievable. And like MD mentioned, the Iowa things because they kept planting seeds, that where they're like, they were at one point to the point where I believe had to change election how ballots were being like did it, and it's remarkable how this one man to do And when we look back, I'm hoping they'll be able to ensure that this never happens again, because I don't know how he was able to get away with so much. First, by the time that he came in, with political, and this is another thing, when people talk about, when should Dwayne Johnson, and hopefully it doesn't run, because everybody knows, if you know me well, I can't stand Dwayne at all. It never to be very overrated, but no, do not run for office. Call back in, not back, some kind of political entrenchment. Is I just, these people just randomly getting up. You have a course of knowing what you're getting into and how, because all these people like Donald, it's like it's of nonsense that just comes along the way. But it's just I remember looking. He did the whole thing like, and then birther issue. He said that born here, why he wasn't. Now why is also didn't realize it's somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. It's a U.S. state. It's a part of the U.S. His birth certificate doesn't show that. He went on and on, even to the point where I guess, if y'all didn't hear, I'm not sure if you're gonna, but Michelle Obama did bring up a bunch of stuff, and I guess he was watching tonight. He was like, because every woman that says anything about him is nasty. You do not go after the most powerful, I wouldn't say, but the most popular Democrat in the Democratic Party, and that's Michelle Obama. She's even more popular than so it's enough to tell you, if she chooses to run one day, she will definitely win the ticket, because she's that popular. But he's very upset about the way that he said this works. This Trump, it's a whole bunch of things strategic wise that will go. I'm gonna put my tin hat on. All these much to do about nothing, but low hanging fruits like Mr. Straight talking, and they catch this and they just run with the narrative. Again, they needed someone to throw all of that spark up on, and it was him. We've seen that again where he Proud Boys, they stand back and stand by and all of this stuff. It's remarkable just looking back, stuff to get away with. And again, these we all why, because with we try not to touch on premises will always come back, because there's an man out that see whole country is changing, and it's really, I mean, the world is changing and you're to change. The 90s from the 70s, it's progressively changing. It has to change. The country has to change as well. To turn 150 years old, it has to change. So, we've so far to then step back a little bit. And again, history is very important, because I don't know if we're learning that much, because, we seem to be falling back in the same bootstrap sense that we've seen from past years. And, here we are. Election night, I doubt we are, but that whole week should, we just want this whole thing to end. It's a lot. It's been very draining, even for people who don't want to vote. They're even in a position now where they're going to vote because, hey, we're annoyed. So, Donald Trump, again, nothing should surprise you about him. If you haven't met him, I don't know. We're not, but I'm say, but it's good on PBS to be reminded on how he's come far and how he's still using the same tactics all over it.
All right, thanks, Ricardo. Patrick, what are your thoughts here about Donald Trump's obvious tactics in claiming every time he loses? And by the way, Trump's track record, win-loss record in politics, is egregious. He has one win, and one win only. That was 2016. And he was surprised when that happened. Don't get that twisted. Melania was crying, not tears of joy, but oh my God, we were supposed to be doing this website thing, to help promote a website, and he ended up winning the presidency, and now we got to be all in this politics land for a while now. Donald Trump lost in all these primaries, all these midterms. He's lost a lot. And in 2020, the losing just kept going. 2022, it just kept going. And now we're in 2024. And he's already putting like little feelers out there that if he loses, somehow if he wins, it was legitimate. Somehow if he wins. But if he loses, you know why he lost. He didn't lose. He was cheated. So, Patrick T., what are your thoughts here on Trump's tactics that he uses?
You have to understand the mindset of a malignant narcissist. The one thing you can't do to a narcissist is leave him. They cannot stand that. When that woman said that Trump essayed her on the plane and she went back to her seat, and then 2 years later, when she saw him at a party, and he remembered her. He said, you were at such and such on the plane. He probably essayed hundreds of women and can't even remember their name. But the one that said no to him, he remembers. So when he loses in an election, to save his ego, to save his it was stolen. It has to be someone cheated. Someone cheated out of something that he won. And he has to do that to him or he'll go mad. What I don't understand, why won't every time he says that an election was stolen, why won't the media just ask him the question, if it was stolen, why were you not strong enough to keep it from being stolen? Why were you so weak that you let Joe Biden, who wasn't even a senator at the time, steal an election from you when you was president of the United States? If someone would ask him that one question, he would stop saying it's stolen. Because saying it's stolen shows his weakness. But they won't answer that. They won't ask him that. Because they wanna market the lie that it's stolen. 200 psychiatrists says that he presents antisocial, paranoid personality disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder, and he's a sadist. 200 practitioners. So that's why he can't take it. And another thing he can't take is that he's mad because this is what it really is. He's mad because a black man was president before him. Number one. And since he would never be the president that Obama was, that's why he flirts with dictators. Because he said, if I could be the first dictator, I'd be the best dictator. Because he has no chance of being the best president. He doesn't have no chance. As a matter of fact, he's been rated the worst president in history.
Yep.
He was number 4 for a little while. They done put him at the bottom, the worst president in history.
Yep.
He still doesn't know what a tariff is. In 9 years, he thinks China pays for a tariff. He doesn't know that we pay for that. And the Supreme Court is going to give this guy a green light to do anything he wants. All he has to do is say executive order. No women can be on the Supreme Court, and then we lose 4 overnight. If Trump wins, that's the end of this country. The end. He's mentally ill. I mean, he's the psychologists say he's a sadist. 200. Black people will be back in chains. He will try to do the deportation of 11 million people that are here illegally, and he will tear the economy into ruin. We'll lose Social Security, and anything that he has a whim of, or anything Stephen Miller tell him to do, he'll do it. And the Supreme Court said that's okay, no problem, whatever you want. The country is on the line on this next election, and just like it took one Hitler to destroy um, um,
Germany.
Germany, it took well. I really think it's Mitch McConnell, and then not Mitch McConnell. What was the Mormon senator from?
You're
Um,
talking, you're talking about Mitt
yeah,
Romney?
Mitt Romney, Donald Trump, and Ted Cruz. I originally thought they would just destroy the Republican Party, but he's on a track to destroy the country. If he gets back in, this we've had it because the Supreme Court says as long as it's an official act, he can't be criminally prosecuted, and whatever he says goes. And
So,
so,
so imagine if Diddy was was the president. All these things were official acts. Oh
yeah,
my good.
yeah,
All right.
and you see, they never help the community, so nobody cares that he's in jail. Nobody can care less in New York.
Wow. All right. So now it's time. Let's go into pretty much the conversation, which goes great with what Patrick has been saying. This election is very important. There are some people that they're just going to sit on the sidelines. There's some people that they're going to try a different flavor. They don't know why, but I guess if the flavor that they got currently isn't working, then let's try booty juice flavor and see if that tastes better. Well, within that kind of mentality, you'll never get anywhere. Let's go to the video here where we're going to recap what Obama said. And now we finally get to hear from Man Talk Monday, Wayne, awesome on awesome on Man Talk Monday every Monday or every other Monday now, joined by Mr. Straight Talk and others, really others. So we're going to go and look at this video, and then the panel will lead off with Patrick on down viewpoints on this video. So here we go.
My understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly. You have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. The women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable.
I want to set the record straight for all you weirdo black Trump supporters out there who think that there's some kind of movement of black men going towards Donald Trump. Because honestly, all you black dudes who are supporting Donald Trump and low-key supporting Donald Trump by only attacking Kamala Harris, utilizing the same propaganda that white supremacy give you, I just want you all to understand that real black men who are intelligent and smart and understand what's actually going on in this world and understand the consequences of elections and their vote are supporting Kamala Harris.
This is for the black Trump supporters, especially the men. I see y'all all on TikTok just bashing the black lady, just bashing, talking crazy, talking grimy, all this kind of stuff. What happened to y'all growing up? Did anything happen to y'all growing up where y'all will vote for a guy that's 78 years old white man who got 34 felonies, who got charged with SA, defrauded banks, contractors? I mean, the list goes on. Y'all okay with that? But the black lady got to be just so perfect for you to vote for, huh?
Some of my brothers have been drinking that Kool-Aid. And I got to give credit to President Obama because he's been going really hard on the brothers. Some might think too hard, but I don't think so. We got to wake up, and don't go for the okie doke.
I did want to hear your thoughts on Obama chastising black men just because we're about to go into the election.
Yeah. Oh man, there's so much, man. I didn't like it. Of course, I think it's a false narrative, a push, because here's the thing. I'll just say this. If it mattered that much to the Democrats, first of all, it's mathematically it's incorrect. I mean, still in large, black men vote Democrat no matter what. It has nothing to do with the woman. I mean, because if that's the case, then what's your argument for Hillary? I mean, over 80% of black men voted for Hillary.
Bars.
So I mean, it's just, and then another thing, if it was that important to the Democratic Party that black men voted for the Democrat in this election, then they would have had an agenda in the beginning for us, and they didn't. So to come at the end of the race and to say, well, basically, if we lose, it's 10% of the black men's fault. It's all bullshit. You know what I'm saying? To me, it shows that they're losing, and it shows that they're going to lose. And let me preface this: I am not a Republican. I am not a Trump guy. I am not even a Democrat. I'm not a Kamala guy. You understand? I think both parties screwed up. But I will say this: I think the Democratic Party need to take a timeout. I'm sorry. Say what you want to say. Last 12 years out of 16, they've been running office. They've had the chair, and they screwed up so many ways. They don't want to admit it. But I just think they just need to have a seat and take a timeout. Anti-family, they're anti-middle class. They trade the working class in for tech, and that's a fact. They screwed this economy over so many ways with one. And I know you Democrat bootlickers out there don't want to admit it. Okay, because you are masters at calling out the Republican Party, but you're not masters at calling out your own party. But yeah, at the end of the day, screw Obama. You know what I'm saying? Screw the people that want to point at black men. The 12% of black men are maybe just tired of the Democratic Party. Ain't got nothing to do with Trump. Ain't got nothing to do with anybody. They just may be tired of the Democratic Party. And I get it, because I see the BS. So yeah, and Obama could kiss it. And I didn't like it. So there it is.
I have absolutely nothing to disagree with.
I got to do it.
You're a victim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trump 2025.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here.
No, sir.
Hey, shout out to Hassan Tahir. Shout out to MD in the building. So, what you was gonna say, Kev?
No, I'm just saying, vote for Trump. You too, chap.
Yeah, see, that's the only thing. The only difference I have is that this ain't the election. Not with Project 2025. That thing scared. I remember when I first read it, that thing scares the hell out of me. Like in a way that nothing has in a long time. And if Trump wins, that's telling him that that's what they want, or that's what we want. And if that's what we want, it's gonna be a whole different world.
Yeah, he
And
say
I'm
he don't
scared.
support. He say he don't support Project 2025.
But
I think,
he'll say
Hey,
anything.
Trump also
He'll
said
say
he ain't grabbing
anything
by the
though.
coochie. We know he
well, I
did.
think, well, the Democratic Party been running a Project 2025 on us the last 12 years. Let's just be honest. That's this what you bootlickers. That's what you not y'all, but the bootlickers, or Democratic bootlickers, don't want to call out. They screwed up the economy as well, just as
I
much.
agree.
They had office for 12 years. Come on, mortgage rates went up, food went up, gas went up. Get out of here. Crime. Your kids can't read before. Your kids can't read above fifth grade level. Get out of here. All these in these Democratic school districts, kids barely can read. What have you done for that? I was done with the Democratic Party when Obama said my brother's keeper, and women said, "Oh hell no," and he said, "Oh okay, cool." That's what I'm saying. So get out of here with that. All you Democrats, you guys, you deserve it. If Trump wins this year, you deserve it because you screwed it up. People are tired of the Democratic Party. All of that. LBGT going crazy. I mean, you just guys went too far left. You're anti-family. You just went too far left. If you deserve to get your butt kicked in this election by Trump, you Democrat black men, bootlickers, black women, y'all deserve it. Because y'all were horrible. And people are
Who's that
just
man
sick of
about?
it.
Okay, there we go. That's Wayne. Shout out to Wayne, by the way. Peace to Wayne and the whole crew there on Man Talk Monday. So, we're gonna go down the line. I'm gonna start with Patrick, go down to Ricardo, and then MD. We'll save MD for last. So, Patrick, looking at that video and what was said, what are your thoughts here about the issue here with black men voting for or perceived to be voting against their own interests and the support indirectly or directly for Donald Trump and the anti-democratic movement? What do you think?
If black men were chickens, they would vote for Colonel Sanders. That's what I think. It's unreal that our brothers are falling for the okey doke from this maniac. I mean, it's just unreal. And you go in the community and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm voting for Trump," or I'm not voting at all. Well, tell Martin Luther King you're not voting. Tell our civil rights fathers who bled and died, and all the men that were lynched. Well, I don't know if I could say that or not. That it's not worth voting. I don't talk to black men that say they're not going to vote. You have an opportunity to craft your government, and we're always coming up with excuses. Oh, it's the electoral college. It's not the vote. It's insanity. And you want to see if you want to see World War III, because Trump gonna let Putin take Ukraine. Putin cannot control the breadbasket of Europe. He just cannot. If he does, guarantees World War III. Guarantees it. Because he won't feed Africa and he won't feed Europe. And they don't have enough land to make it up. People will be starving. And Putin will just starve them out until he can retake the Baltics. It's insanity. It's insanity wanting to say, well, if you can't vote, you won't vote. And don't even think about the president. How about the school district and your state senators and your house rep? Trump knows he's going to jail. He knows he's if he loses or if he wins the house, are they gonna try to pull a no, we're not gonna show up to the and certify the electoral college votes again? Will they do that again? So no excuses. Our country is on the line, and anybody that want to say some junk about, hey, this country no good. Well, what other country in the world where black people have more money? What country in the world does black people have more political power? What country in the world do black people spend $4 billion on alcohol? It's countries that don't even have $4 billion in their GDP but we spent $1 billion on Jordans, $4 billion on alcohol, and $2 billion on hair care products because somebody told you your nappy head's not beautiful. Hey, Trump wins. I'm moving to Japan, and I'm gonna say, see you Negroes later. I'm going to Japan. Me and my wife already talked about it. We get in the house in Japan, and we're out of here. Me and my grandson and my stepson, we're out of here. They think it's a joke, and it's dead serious. This man is fighting for his life, and anything goes. And the second he loses, I bet you every plan that he. No, and then another thing, I know you don't like when I talk about it, Van Cat. Um, where's the trajectory from the FBI on who he was shooting at? Still don't have that. Where's the trajectory? They know who he's shooting at, and I guarantee you he wasn't shooting at Trump. He was shooting at that black guy, the only black guy in the audience, who two people got shot that were sitting beside him. If I'm wrong, where's those trajectories at? Where's Trump's medical records? If he got shot, why won't you show that you got shot in the ear?
He ain't never gonna release that.
Yeah, well, he pulled the Hulk Hogan, like I said. He pulled the Hulk Hogan, cut his hand, cut his ear, did something, and then Hulk Hogan's at his the Republican convention. So where's the trajectories? FBI know where that guy was shooting at. They can they can see the sights. They can take his glasses and see where that rifle was zeroed at. That's the first thing they would have done. And when I was on your show, I told you I don't even think the Secret Service was there. And what we found out, the Secret Service wasn't there. No way. But if we play this game. I don't vote. Colonel Sanders is better for me, and I'm a chicken. When we get burnt, don't cry. Don't cry, because he can do anything. He can sign any order. He can say 200% tariffs on everybody, and our country, and everybody lose their job, and then he'll blame it on Biden.
All
That's
right,
it.
thanks, Patrick. So we're gonna go to Ricardo. Ricardo, what are your thoughts on this ongoing saga of black men not voting or voting against their own self-interest?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into the basically overall what everybody's been saying, particularly black men, about the Democratic Party. From the onset, from when TFP started, if you remember well, when everybody was asking, I said I have no party affiliation, and the reason being is because I have this very disdain hate for the Democratic Party because there's a number of stuff that the Democratic Party has done that I think a lot of people don't call them out for. Over the years, you kind of see it, and one of my biggest gripes, if you've look back in TFP and the tapes and all that, you'll see my biggest gripe has always been the alphabet community and how much they've stirred the party so over the edge that now it's like, okay, well, they get away with murder, but when other people say stuff, it's like, oh, no, you're this and you're anti this, and it's like it's very much that's what it's given now, and I think that's where the discourse with black men are coming about from. There's a lot of things that over the years have been building up and nobody said anything, and now it's like over the precipice, kind of like when you fill a bathtub up with water and you keep filling it until it reaches the precipice and then it start overflowing. Now is what we're getting. The problem with this now is it's very much, we can't afford at this particular juncture, and I've been saying this, to allow this maniacal maniac to play and try to win this election. We all know why Donald Trump is running this time around and why he's going for the gunner this time around as well. It's because he doesn't want to go to jail. Anybody who says to me otherwise doesn't really know how politics works, doesn't know how litigation works, doesn't know. There's so much we've seen, and let's not get into, because forgive me, guys. MD Vancat, did you not remember that they mentioned that they're going to put off all these cases regarding his court cases until after the election? Lest we forget that? We've forgotten that whole thing, right? Because a lot of people seem to have forgotten that. This all has been put to the back burner because they want to see how the election results is going to be. And he knows that. This is pretty much the preamble of him knowing, hey, if I don't win this, I'm pretty much going to be going behind bars. And he knows this for a fact because everyone else have literally taken the bait for him, and have literally almost everyone in his sycophant group, group of peers have literally all went to jail for him, except for him. So there's a lot that goes into this. It's just, there's so much. Yes, I get the bitterness. Yes, I get the anger. Yes, I get why there's discourse regarding Black men and not wanting to vote, and then, you know, being told the misinformation about, you know, Kamala not being Black or she's not. We've dived into this multiple times as regarding or pertaining to her ethnicity, and we're not going to go into it again. With that being stated, it's a little bit cutting it too close now in terms of this, where we're now building up this whole I'm angry and resentful towards Democratic Party and then projecting it onto Kamala. We cannot afford to allow Trump to win. There's a lot that goes into this. And again, if y'all have not read the Project 2025, Lord have mercy. There's so much to get into that. And I think that's something we might have to dissect, but I don't even think we're going to have the time to do it. Project 2025 literally gives you, and it's not even Trump that wrote it, it's the people around him that did, that literally tells you what they want and how they want this country to be. There's a lot of things that are stoked into the white supremacy that I've literally been reading about for years when it comes to politics that I didn't even think I would see in my lifetime is now being pushed to the forefront. And it's literally like right in front of us. And we're going to then go and say, oh, but no, you know, yeah, you know, it's long time coming. We don't care. You should care. Literally now, this is the time that everybody should be on panic mode, like all cylinders blazing. This is literally a blow up moment. Like y'all need to be literally terrified because it's not even so much so. And Patrick T mentioned this as well. The last time around, if we remember, Trump literally just executive ordered every blasted thing he wanted because who was going to stop him? I mean, when Obama tried to do it, it was like, oh no, oh my God, hysteria. It's like, no, but then you didn't call Trump up, but you were so quick to do it for other people. This is where it scares me because then he put all these people in the Supreme Court. He put all these people, all these croonies that are literally like money-making people. And if you all remember me well, I'm still livid about this whole tax code that he changed literally in the presidency that he had, where all of a sudden, if you make a certain amount of percentage, you literally being taxed overtly, like benign by Uncle Sam. You can't even 99 a check anymore if you had a profit sharing from your company. Kiss that goodbye, because the 99 means nothing on a tax code. These are stuff that they literally got away with because, hey, literally, he's a businessman and he knows how to run it. Remember that whole rhetoric? I know to run the country. Meanwhile, he's been bankrupt how many times? Literally did Trump University, Trump here, all of this stuff, literally all fell to the back burner and literally went bankrupt because he didn't know what he was doing. It was all a bluff. He's a great, slick salesman. That's what he is. And literally, we're giving him the go around again. This time around, I'm sorry. I can't do it, but I get it. I get the whole anger, the buildup of this whole thing of like, screw it, f this. We want to see the Democratic Party burn. We all know they're all, every single one of them, all these parties are being paid for. Like if you heard Jake Tapper the last time around, I think it was him that was in the convention saying all these big cats were in the friggin' big box section of the arena. Like they're literally all big money cats. They're the ones that are literally fueling the party because everybody else at the bottom are literally just people that are like at the bottom of the totem pole or the pyramid. So who is really running the party, they're not really getting it because they don't really care. At the end of the day, they're fat cats, call them, people who have the big money chains that literally. So if it takes that for them to all burn down and literally this is where we're at, then let's see what happens on Tuesday night next week, because this is where we're going to be at. We're going to be either shocked, we're going to be taking relief, or a breather, or well, this is what we were about, and here we are. I don't know what's going to happen on Tuesday. I could only all that anger and they have built up in you towards voting. Don't say you're not going to vote. It's your civic duty to vote, so don't just skip the course. Just go ahead and vote. Whoever you vote for in that booth or in your ballot box, it's up to your discretion. We don't need to know, but vote. But don't complain afterwards when shit hits the fan that you didn't get what you want, and oh my God, here we are, and this should not have happened, and I should have voted otherwise. That's not what we're going to do after this election. I hope people know what they're doing. Do it wisely, and let's not hear let's just panic and oh my God, we're going to freak out after this. It's not going to be worth it, but you're entitled to your opinions and do whatever you choose to do.
All right, thanks, Ricardo. MD, what are your thoughts here on the issue that we've been talking about? Blacks not voting, not seeing the need to vote, blacks voting against their own self-interest. What do you think?
Yeah, so I mentioned it last night. I agree with everything that Wayne said until the end. When he started off talking, he identified that he understands that this is a small group of Negro men that are making these numbers balloon out to something that's non-existent. I commend him for identifying that. He even went back to the exit polling from all the way back to 2016 and realized that was over 80%. I was like, okay, Wayne, that's the Wayne. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But then, because of who Wayne is, he had no choice but to go back to his grievances and use that as justification for, I'm assuming, not voting, because that's what I got out the bulk of his conversation. Now, I'm to the point now, a person that says they won't vote in this election for whatever reason, whatever grievance they may have, lets me know that they're not politically in tune. And they're going solely off of a nihilistic principle that they may have in terms of what their social status is. So because his social reality is down the shitter, he mad at the world, and now he just don't want to vote, not knowing the implication or not caring of the implications of the whole structure of government as we know it. Because that's what it's about at the end of the day. Shout out to Ricardo for, I thought Ricardo was going to go there, but he pulled himself back because he understands the implications. Mike, for inclination of what the context of the conversation was, he understands the implication, bringing up Project 2025. But Wayne, the red pill / black pill, because that's what he's going to be. He's going to be black pill if Kamala wins. The red pill / black pillar is so nihilistic in his principle of what he believes a social standard should be. He said to hell with it. He ain't going to vote. Like I said, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I got out the conversation, because it wasn't said who he was going to vote for. I was waiting on Trevor to ask you, okay, so who you going to vote for? Based on the nature of the way he was speaking, I'm assuming he ain't going to vote. Because he's saying that, if Trump wins, they deserve it. What they deserve, I don't know. But it all goes back to social hierarchy and being butthurt as far as your position. That's what it comes down to. I just got to keep it real. He brought up LGBTQ. Let's just think about in the terms of what we believe. Do you not understand the white people said the same thing about us in the 1960s? The same exact thing. And the politicians understood that. That's why they came up with the Southern strategy. Okay, these white folks down south are mad because This is about to happen whether they like it or not. Voting rights is about to be real in the South. And it's going to be a balloon of political power for black folk. What can we do? Hell, let's just switch the principles of the party. That's what they did. LGBTQ, it ain't because they don't nobody care what they doing or reach around. Don't nobody give a damn about none of that. But what they do give a damn about is the financial, political, and social power that they're garnering based on their demographic. That ain't nobody's fault. They people happen to go to college and get knowledge and get financial power and therefore get political power. Thus, that's what it's saying, powernomics. So they're a demographic that has to be coddled now because they're a base that can garner attention to a specific political party. That ain't nobody's fault. But now you got this fringe group of conservative Negroes that don't like that for whatever reason. Not understanding it's not about the social restraints. It's all about the political ones. And Negroes got a lot of political constraints because a lot of them don't understand politics. That ain't nobody's fault but theirs. Who am I to get mad at LGBTQ? Who am I to get mad at the immigrant population? Because they making moves and you ain't. We just got to keep it real with ourselves at the end of the day. A lot of the stuff that we bitch and complain about can easily be alleviated just by garnering knowledge as far as what your political strength is. But you don't want to do that. You rather sit on the couch and let the cards fall where they may. Okay. So don't bitch about nothing then. When Black Pac come around and all these other political action committees that don't got your interest in mind, why would they? You ain't worth a damn. So get some work is what I would say. That's what I end with.
Man, MD, if I had a button that exploded, a rocket, erupt a volcano.
Play me that video Trevor played for Wayne last night. That'll suffice.
Oh my God. Every single word, every single thing was potent and was on point and was valid. I mean, damn. I don't understand the black people that go after LGBTQ ABZ. I don't understand how you could be black and go after a group of people after being black. And it makes sense in a sense that those blacks didn't go through what past blacks went through, so they don't have appreciation for being subjugated and targeted as a group of people. So today's blacks that was alleviated of that, even though we've had our issues. If you were born in the 80s, if you were born in the 70s, you still have your issues. You still had your issues. We've seen a lot of horrible things happen with black people. Just in the last 10 years alone, you could point out many catastrophic things. But you got to times that 1,000 for people that were picking cotton, people that were going through Jim Crow, people that were brought over as slaves, thrown over the boats. They didn't even make it to America. You just look sick. They know this nigga ain't good. Just throw his ass over. You don't have that context, and I don't understand why you can't see an issue and identify it as an issue and not have to go through that issue to understand and care about that issue. If it don't happen to you, it doesn't matter until it happens to you. But anyway, I said my piece here. We got TJ Hammer, Strictly Real Original. What's going on, TJ?
Oh shit, I was muted. Can you guys hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now.
All right. Well, first of all, peace to the chat. Just give me like 3 minutes, and just give me 3 minutes, and I'm gone. Let me go down the list here. Patrick T. First of all, It's crazy. I can't get you in the ring to debate, but you over here on TFP. It's all good. I need you to read. I need you to read Matthew 24:6 for me. I'll get back to you after that. Ricardo, I'm very disappointed in you because yesterday you were co-signing what Wayne said. You too, MD. And I got to give MD credit because MD is actually the only person that actually addressed what Wayne actually said. And I'm not, Wayne is in the chat, so I don't need to be in defense of Wayne, but it just goes to show when you have your mind made up on something, you're going to approach it from your preconceived views. Wayne never said that he wasn't voting. He never said that. Second of all, nobody up here, with the exception of MD, he touched on it, and MD agreed with basically 87% of what Wayne said until the end. Then he let his blue pill, red pill, whatever pill thing get back in the way. How come I never heard none of y'all address what he was actually saying about the issues that he was saying? And so quick to put Brother Africa up on the screen because he goes for what you're saying. Nobody on Man Talk Monday, with the exception of Kev, and I know Kev is telling the truth. Nobody on Man Talk Monday, with the exception of Kev, is a Trump supporter. All we're saying is look at the other side. Let's open up dialogue. And I find it interesting that when people have different views than yours, you guys and this is Venkat especially, you guys always go to, oh, you're voting against your interests. Oh, you always play the black card when it's convenient. I find that weird. I've been hearing that a lot. And the whole LGBT thing, listen, you know how I feel about it. You know me long enough, but I don't need to beat a dead horse. I don't need to harp on it. But people in the same breath do have the ability and the God-given right to feel how they want about a certain group of people. You can't tell them that they can't. You don't know their personal experiences with them. You can't tell them that they can't feel the way that they feel about them. Hell, there's some people that don't think the abortion stuff needs to be talked about as much as it does. But then try telling that to a woman that you're trying to take her rights away from. So you can't tell a person how they're supposed to feel. I just find it funny that everybody on this panel, well, 2 of the 4 of you, agreed with. We could go back into the show and agreed with everything that Wayne was saying. And now all of a sudden you get on TFP and you're like, oh man, nah. Talk about what he was talking about. Not he's not Trump. He's not pro-Trump. All the man is saying is, just like y'all, he's lived. Wayne, we're all the same age. We're older than you, MD. I don't know how old Ricardo is. Probably young. Ricardo's probably younger than MD. But we've lived. Okay, so y'all the same. So we've lived longer than y'all. We've seen things. You can't tell that man what his eyeballs have shown him. That's the part that get me. Yeah, we know how Wayne is. We know Wayne. Wayne is Captain Manosphere. He even said it yesterday. He's Captain Manosphere. We know that. But you can't just discredit everything that the guy says just because it doesn't fit in your ideology. And that's all I wanted to come up here and say, because I know Wayne probably won't come up on the panel.
Hold on, Trevor. Don't leave yet. Was there anything else on that?
No. What's up, Eddie? No, that's it. I'm done.
Okay, so you're saying that people didn't address what Wayne's saying. So what Wayne
y'all
said,
talked around it. Y'all talked around it.
Okay, so Wayne specifically said about how he had problems with the Democratic Party. Now, there's a few things I have to say about that. When you look, it's a 2-party system primarily. All the other parties don't really matter. So in this time, he said it was 16 years. And out of those 16 years, the Democrats had power 12 years. And it's hard for me to, take anything seriously that you're going to try to say that when Obama took office in 2009, that he had a great economy to work with. So you know off the bat, he was dealing with a mess that took almost 8 full years, well, a little bit earlier than 8 years to fix. And in the last 3 years of his presidency, he had 75 straight months of job growth. That never happened before. Something was happening in the country that was positive after you were started off in a negative. But we have this revisionist history, and we do a lot of whataboutism, and we just truncate all the problems into the one area that you're going to get progress out of. The other party is sitting on their hands. During that time period, they were trying to take away your health care. During that time period, they were doing things to blacks specifically. We're talking about stop and frisk. We're talking about anything that you can possibly do to make blacks in this country feel alienated and targeted. You're never going to get a solution for those problems. Listen to Trump. I have concepts of a problem. And this problem he's talking about is almost 10 years in the making. He still doesn't have an answer for it. So you're saying the viable option is to go to that side of the arena and reward that side. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party, Obama did not pass the healthcare he wanted, but he passed it. 60 years of presidents beforehand were trying to pass that healthcare. It didn't happen. He got it in there. I know from my personal experience, I got Obamacare. I had it for 1 year, and that was the best year of any healthcare coverage I've ever had. I didn't get magical bills in the mail. I didn't get any kind of crazy like runaround. I had an issue. I told them what my issue was. Boom, it was addressed and fixed. It was the best healthcare plan that I've ever had. And I'm a working person, been working for years, had company insurance, and it could never even start to address anything. So the whole thing with to pretend that the Democratic Party, and this is my other thing too. When has it been cool to be like, oh man, I stand on mines. I'm a man. I'm a manly man. I don't need none. No matter who the president is, I'm always gonna be making dough because that's me. I'm out. I get it out the dirt. I'm out here hustling. I'm out here doing this. I'm out here doing that. Right? We say this for things in society. We say this for in the real world. Then flip it and put it to the government and put it to politicians. The politician and the government have to be perfect. They have to address all your needs and wants in a perfect fashion and do it the perfectliest way, perfectly possible.
So hold on, wait a minute, Van Cat. So you telling me some Negroes out here being individualists when it's convenient? That what you're telling me?
Exactly. Exactly. And it's that stuff can't fly. You can't be this big badass in that arena, and then when it comes to this other side, you bitch up. All this issue is a trend. People always going with the other thing. Oh man, I have to be a party pooper. I have to spoil something. Or I have to be contrary to. Trevor said, "There's good talk about the other options." Well, yes, Trevor, let's talk about those other options, because the most substantive thing that Donald Trump said that he would do for Americans this campaign season was that he was going to do no tax on tips. When I heard that, I was like, what the hell is that? First of all, the people that have to deal with that are a small group, because not everybody in service industry even takes tips. And the thing is, I don't want tips. I want my pay. So instead of paying me $1.50 an hour and I make up the difference on tips, just pay me the goddamn $15 an hour or whatever it is I need to get my stuff going. I don't need to be living on tips. So they feed you this mirage or this fake concept of some sort of plan or policy that really isn't benefiting you. They need to end tips, period, in this country. In other countries, don't even do that.
Not to mention, Venkat, also no tax on overtime. I saw a
Right.
report today. Less than 3% of people got overtime this year.
That's what I'm saying. And that goes back to that point I made on the show last week about how Donald Trump brings up the whole issues of transgender and all this other nonsense, and this or transgendered people in sports. How many of those people actually participated? It's probably less than 10 in the whole country, and we're microscoping that issue and ignoring the real issue that affects the majority of the people. And every time we do this dumb happy Negro dance, it leaves it open for us to not talk about the real stuff. I want to talk about why it is that I only get 2 weeks vacation for a whole year. People should be pissed off about that. You should be absolutely pissed off about that. In other countries, it's 12 weeks, 6 weeks, sometimes 6 months. I mean, and we're in this country busting our ass, have all kinds of issues and conditions, and you're happy and good with that. You talk about Hillary Clinton. If it wasn't for Hillary Clinton, women that got pregnant wouldn't have the ability to keep their job while they were out from their pregnancy and get 60% of their pay, which still goes today. And which party passed that? Bill Clinton and the Democrats. So every time you speak out about Democrats, the Democrats have to be 100% perfect. And these bumbling, fumbling jackasses like Trump, Ted Cruz, and all these other bastards, they could be as imperfect as anything, and they're on even keel. That election to the next week, it ain't going to be as close. I don't feel like it is going to be as close. I think there's a market and a reason to project it to being close, to keep eyeballs on it and have people invested in it. But it ain't going to be that. But this idea that I'm going to entertain a buffoon that has 34 count felonies on his ass, the complete coward the whole time, from bone spurs to profiling black people not being able to rent. That's been well documented. He stole the indoctrinated the five in New York that he put out a page ad in a newspaper talking about they need to import the death penalty to kill him off without even knowing what the hell is what. And now they were clear of everything. He still hasn't apologized. And now they're taking him to court because he disrespected them during the debates. So, I mean, there's a lot here that like is gross and obscene to bring up. Trump is not a viable candidate. He's not a legitimate candidate. It's a buffoon clown show. And for me to try to entertain him, well, he's going to affect the GDP and he's going to do this. And he's not going to do jack squat dilly. That guy was in McDonald's last week. And then McDonald's had an outbreak of E. coli. I don't want to hear about him. So it's ridiculous. Like, so now I'm sorry, because every time something happens, then I go deeper. And now I'm thinking, well, okay, so there's no real case here. So why are niggas all talking about this and acting like it's legitimate? Because it's not.
Vancat, 75 million votes the last time he ran is legitimate.
How much Joe Biden had?
80. 81.
84. 84.
75 million people said the clown, the mental patient, is okay to be president.
Yeah, well, a lot of those people don't have the information they needed, but he got 75 whatever. But when the voters increase, which by the way, only 60% of the population voted, that left 40% on the table that didn't do a goddamn thing. That's a whole other election that could have happened behind that election. So yeah, it's going to go up regardless, because some people are just voting. I'm a Republican, I vote Republican. I'm a Democrat, I vote. You have that element in there baked in. it's whatever. It's alarming that certain people can't see the disrespect
Liz,
until it comes to them.
Liz Cheney should have ran, and she would have guaranteed he lost, but she didn't run.
I just
I
I just
don't
I
think.
just I just
Go ahead,
want you
Trevor. Go
guys to
ahead.
see.
Go ahead.
I just want you guys to see. Venkat went off about 7 minutes, and I didn't say one word. Just want to show y'all the difference between me and him. When I start talking for 30 seconds, it's just so you guys know. Again,
Go ahead, Trevor.
again, I got no idea where all this is coming from, all this vitriol. It's fine because I'm just watching the eyeballs go up, so it's fine. I get it, but I don't understand why you guys don't understand what I'm saying. I can't speak for Wayne. I can't speak for Wayne. I wish he would have came up, but he didn't. We played a video that he said last night. You're reacting off the video. But I've said since this has started, since day one, whose team I was on. I mean, I don't know what else to say. But before I go,
Is Wayne still in the chat? Because I want to ask him since you brought it up. Who is he voting for? Oh, he left.
No, Wayne. Yeah, Wayne said this is why you don't come on these type of panels. Patrick, I don't. Hey, YouTube, this is my channel. I can say whatever the hell I want to say. I type something in the chat and they won't let it go through. You talking about WWR? Not WWR. That's tomorrow. You talking about WW3? You as a Christian man, you should be happy for that because that signals the coming of the Lord.
Uh-oh.
You should be happy. You should be happy about that, right?
No, WWE don't signal the coming of the Lord. They don't signal that at all.
Hey, read Matthew 24:6. When you hear wars and rumors of wars, be not afraid. The end is near. And what happens at the end? We can talk about that later, though. We can talk about that later. But but I do bring up Wrestling with Reality. I'm about to get off because I'm putting the finishing touches on.
Hey, wait a minute, Trevor. You don't have any response to anything I said?
No, I don't. Because I don't disagree with. Me and you have never disagreed on this. That's what I don't understand. Your fight is not to me, and I get it. You listen. Whenever I come up here, then you get the Venkat that I want to pull out. You get the piss and vinegar Venkat. So I get it. I'll stand proxy. I'll stand this imaginary proxy for all the black men in the world. I do want y'all to address Wayne's 10% number that he said at the beginning, though. But I'll stand proxy for all the black men in the world. So Venkat could get his shit off and argue and everything like he's yelling at me. But I don't disagree with anything you said. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. There's nothing that y'all saying that I disagree with. Nothing. But damn, so like I said, man, what's going on for next week? Because I'm taking next week off.
TFP's gonna be a shorter show, and we're gonna go to MD afterwards. MD
okay.
called by play. Yeah.
Okay,
so
I figured MD was going to stream the election. Okay,
yeah.
I said
So
that last night.
We'll start at 6:30. We'll be off by 8.
All right. I said that last night on Man Talk Monday without even knowing. I just said we'll all go over to MD's channel because I'm pretty sure he's going to stream the election. So yeah, I'm gonna take it off because that week, the leading up to it and the day after, you want to you want to be able to react to it. So, but I'm out of here, man. Tomorrow night, Wrestling with Reality Part 3, the Vince McMahon stuff. We got a banger for you tomorrow night, man. Because I'm just putting the finishing touch on all these sound bites and videos.
I just want to say this real quick before you leave. So there is no issue. This is just we're talking and passionate talking and talking about stuff that has real stakes and issues behind it. But like, I have no issue with Wayne. MD has no issue with Wayne. I have no issue with you. Ricardo has no issue with you. It's just we're just talking, and that's what it should be. It should be.
Venkat.
Go ahead.
I threw a bomb in your backyard. you think and you didn't kill me. You think I care about this? Come on, man. Hey, it's streaming is what we do. I get it. Um, yeah, I just wish Wayne. I wish Wayne would have came up though
Yeah, it would have been great if Wayne would
to
have came up. That would have been
get his
great.
stuff up.
But
Yeah,
to your point though, I felt not just MD, I felt like Wayne did say, or not say, but gave the feeling that not voting was the option. In that portion of the video, there was no like, I'm not voting for this person. I'm going to vote for this person. It sounded more like I am staying out of it. And there was even one part where you were saying that, like Wayne is not for any team. You even said that in the video.
Yeah, see, I didn't get that because me and Mike say the same thing that we're not for anybody. Hell, Mike has even been on record saying
Mike let you know though. Mike said definitively.
Exactly, me too. But Mike also craps on the other side though.
Yes, he does.
And you can do that. You can do that. I have no problems with that. I just watch like how you do it, and not give a pass to one. Look, if Republican Party was active and doing things, you couldn't lose anywhere the vote goes. But in a Republican Party that's like this, and especially with this particular candidate, there's no room for. Because I remember when it was just white old guys that were both party representative candidates. And forever, everybody would be like, yeah, I ain't got no dog in this fight. I don't really care. Doesn't matter. It's still going to be bad for me. And then when Obama became the nominee, I remember hearing a guy say that same nonsense. I'm like, okay, what else do you need, dude? Like this, I never thought this was even going to happen. You're here now. You're still complaining. Like if you were so like involved in it, then you would have been there during the primaries and you could have voted for a different candidate. But like I feel like no matter who gets in and it's the candidate, whether they know him or not, they're gonna immediately say they ain't no good. They're the best of the best of the worst, the lesser of two evils. All these cliche bullcrap. It's just all not addressing the issue. And in life, things don't have to be perfect for you. There's going to be flaws. Your car's going to have a scratch on it. You're going to have a fall on your knee one time. Things aren't perfect. So why is it the politicians have to be pristine, perfect, and have no flaws? But all other aspects of life can be flawed to the fullest, and it's all good. And that's my problem. It's a disingenuous argument that a person that really ultimately doesn't care, pretending like they care and saying, I don't care because this is the problem. No, you are the problem. You are the problem. If this mother lover gets in the office, these conversations now will be looked back years ago and you'd be like, well, why weren't people more engaged? Why weren't more people seeing? I mean, the guy's literally telling you what he's going to do. I never seen it so bold. All this racist stuff, like we're offended by Democrats standing up for a group of people that are gay, transgender, whatever. They're giving them the right to exist. But we're not offended by the Republican Party that is known to harbor racist, xenophobic, crazy people that are violent and are on top of the terror watch. And there is no outrage for that. Explain that to me, please. I said what I said.
My brother, all it takes is one drift from the eagle's wings. So how you say it, MD? so damn, I wish I could have got it, man. Oh man, I messed up MD's line. All it takes is one draft.
One draft to win, man.
To what? To make the eagle fly or something?
Yeah, to lift the eagle's wing. But I get it. But again, like I said, in terms of the political reality, you can't like deny it. That's just a whole fact. And for Wayne to understand the implications, then turn around and essentially say, because I'm gonna say, if Venkat don't say it, I'm gonna say it. I don't think he's gonna vote. In that, like I said, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, hey, that's egg on my face. But the body of his conversation led me to believe that he ain't gonna vote. Based off of his grievance, that ain't a good look. I'm gonna just keep it real. It's not. Mike understood the assignment when he brought out the implication. Again, you can say whatever you want about the Democratic Party. Once this election is over, I'm back on them. But I understand. Hey, look, this is not the election to do it. It's all hands on deck from a structural standpoint. The very foundation of how we view government is on the line. If you can't understand that, then you out of touch. That's just a fact.
Just like the black woman is the only woman that will say, I don't need no man. The black man is the only man that will say, I'm not going to vote this election. He the only one.
Oh, damn, that was
Don't do
hard.
that, Patrick. Don't do
That was
that,
hard.
Patrick.
Let me
Don't do
know who
that,
else said.
Patrick.
Let
Don't do
me
that,
know the
Patrick.
Chinese woman that say, I don't need no
No,
man.
Patrick. That's been my talking points forever. The black women are the only women on earth that'll go on public platforms and desecrate their man. That is what I stand on. That's my doctrine. So
And
yeah, I'm just saying.
the black man is the only man that'll get up there and say, I'm not gonna vote. And nobody
because
helps me.
they've been pushed
The
to
only
do it.
one.
All right,
Tell Nat Turner you're not gonna vote. Tell
Oh,
Frederick
hey,
Douglass you're not gonna vote.
hey, and you trying to play on the heartstrings? Everybody talking about Martin Luther King, this and Martin. Get out of here with that. Get
No,
out of
no.
here with that.
Tell
Get out of
Frederick
here
Douglass
with
you're
that.
not gonna vote. Tell
Out
him.
of here with all that foolishness. Hey,
Tell
yeah,
Coburn you're not gonna vote.
and all of them had the white woman in their bed. So what you gonna say?
Hey, it's not a vote for the
Nothing.
white woman.
Oh,
It's a vote to
I'm
vote.
sorry. I'm sorry. Just real quick. Jamon Williams, he's in the back right now. If you could please put your camera on, and then we'll let you up on the. Just put your camera on for a moment. You don't have to keep it on, but just put it on so we can see that you're a real human being and not a troll or bot or whatever. And we'll bring you on the panel.
If I'm not mistaken, he was on the Bible show Thursday. I can't remember. That name sounds familiar. Damn, y'all got a Nyame over here now. Yeah, I'm gonna get off of here, man. Before everybody, people want to come up on the panel, man. I'll definitely be listening in the back. But Patrick, we might have to get you on Mondays with them talking with those type of talking points. We curse a little bit too much though, so you might not want to come over there. But
Hey, I'm a military man, so I heard it all before. I'm a military man.
all right, fellas.
I heard the worst.
I'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right. So, all right. Thanks, TJ Hammer. So we got on the panel, Jamon Williams. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Welcome to TFP. You wanted to make a comment on what we were talking about on the panel?
Yeah. I hear this discussion going on a lot everywhere on everyone's platform about voting for presidents. And I just had a question does anyone know who we're allowed to vote for?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, it's always been in our history books and things of that nature about how the election works and who we are allowed to work and who we're allowed to vote for. I'm pretty sure we all know about the Electoral College, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So in a way, why does a public or population vote matter if the Electoral College vote is the only vote that matters as far as vice president and president? Now, I do understand voting for senators, governors, sheriffs, mayors, things of that nature. But the whole reason why the Electoral College vote, in which you all can look this up on the USA.gov, you can look it up on pretty much any United States of America website and find this information out, that The population vote does not decide who's president or vice president.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's already known.
Didn't I say that earlier?
I mean, but that's already known. Let me ask you a
Oh,
question,
okay.
Mr. Williams. Are we a democracy?
Huh?
Are we a democracy?
As far as like capitalism,
No. Are we a democracy? Or is our government structured around the democracy?
oh yeah, yeah. For
No, it's
instance, like,
not.
you know,
It's not.
how is it not?
So that answers your question.
How is it not a democracy?
Because it wasn't set up that way. I didn't do it. It was set up as a constitutional republic. A democracy is mob rule. Does the mob rule? It doesn't.
Corporations rule. I mean,
Well, if you want to go that route, I'm not going to do that. If you want to go that route, that's fine.
well, you asked the question. I didn't ask the question.
Well, I asked you, was it a democracy? We're not a democracy. Therefore, your point is mute. The popular vote don't count.
Is it illegal to purchase alcohol?
No, it's not illegal to purchase alcohol.
Is it
what made that? Stop right there. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Walk down the street?
What made it? How was it made that we can purchase alcohol?
Through voting, pretty much.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Because at one point, alcohol was illegal.
How is it now that you can go in the store and buy 40? How was that possible?
From my understanding, alcohol was illegal up until they voted on it and passed it. And
who voted on? Did we vote on that?
Not this generation, no.
Neither did the past generation. The Congress did. They amended it into the 19th Amendment. They amended it. So that answers your question again. We're not a democracy. We never have been. So when we use the term democracy, it's important to understand the context in which we use it. When we say Trump is a threat to democracy, we're not saying in the sense that he's a threat to the totality of government. He's a threat to the very process in which we use as a people to make things happen. Democracy is a process. It's not our government. Our government is a constitutional republic. Go ahead.
Can the president pass any law he chooses?
No.
Okay, then. So how
yes, he can. Now he can.
Who?
Well, yeah. There you go.
I mean,
so yeah, according
he
to what
can pass any law, he can right now. That's the Supreme Court.
So again, when we talk about Trump being a threat to democracy, there you go. Because we put the people in power in the legislative branch to write laws. We do that as people, right?
As people, yeah.
What Trump is trying to do is bypass all that. So democracy is a double-edged sword. Yes, we participate in a process of democracy, but our government as a whole is not a democracy.
So we participate in it, but we're not that.
No, you're correct. We use democracy to consolidate our constitutional republic, meaning we use our numbers to solidify the electorate and the delegation for each state, because we are the United States of America. We're not the country as a whole.
Because in the Constitution, state business is state business. Federal can pass the law, but if the state chooses to pass the law, then that's that state choice.
There you go. To a certain degree, but I agree.
To a certain degree, yes. To a certain degree, yes.
So therefore, and all this stuff was argued when they founded the country. Thomas Jefferson didn't like the Electoral College. He didn't want to do it, but he understood it based on the fact that if we give,
he damn sure benefited from it.
He benefited.
The 3/5 rule. He had those slaves that he owned, and that took him over the top. If you took the slave vote out of there, it would have been he would have lost to Adams.
Right? Yeah, because again, those southern states had ultimate power with 3/5 rule.
Right,
but
9 out of the 10 first presidents were slave owners.
Yeah, there you go. But from a general perspective, right? From a general perspective, I understand the Electoral College, because when you consolidate that much power with that big of a landmass, it's not total representation. If that make any sense, some of your plain states would literally have no power. So I get it, and like I said, I can see the argument from both sides. What I'm saying is, when people make that argument, you have to understand, as it's defined in the Constitution, why that was put into place. We're not a democracy, government standing. We're a constitution.
Yeah. All
We'll
right.
follow
Yeah.
the rules of the
Yeah.
Constitution.
Yeah. And I never looked at it in that aspect, but yeah, you're right.
The Hebrew Israelites, it's a Hebrew Israelite talking point to tell their people not to vote because your vote don't count because of the electoral college. And for some reason, they think that nobody knows about the electoral college. I talk to a wannabe Hebrew Israelite almost every day. He's called Shankman. And he always coming up with, oh, your vote don't count, the electoral college. Is absolute nonsense.
Yeah, it
Well,
don't make any sense.
I wouldn't say your vote doesn't count. It's just who you vote for. I mean, voting for judges, voting for, like I said, sheriffs, mayors, governors, uh, things like petitions in your state, laws that are about to be passed in your state. I think those things most definitely, if you're allowed to vote for that. But as far as the president and vice president goes, I mean, we ultimately don't have a choice. We are left with the electoral college to make that decision. So I don't see no need into voting for any president or vice president. But as far as mayors, senators, sheriffs, legislators, representatives, district attorneys, again, I would vote in state.
So when they have an election, they have statistics that they look at. So they know exactly who and what type of people vote for who. And that's where you bring your strength, by showing that representation. People done died to vote. And now the descendants of those people are not voting. That's a problem. You
Well,
vote to represent and show, I'm here. I'm looking at you right here, and I'm aware. So at the very least, your vote is a statement, at the very least. And it should not be compromised for anything. I'm just saying, people are kind of loose with that vote. People got stabbed up and killed for that vote, man.
yeah, I mean, well, I won't give my opinion on that, but hey, it is a statement, but at the end of the day, what's stopping those people in the electoral college from doing whatever they decide anyway? I mean,
Well, we never had this issue. We never had this issue until 2020.
Huh?
It's laws written in state constitutions defining what the electors must do. The
It's supposed to
electors
just be a
represent
ceremonial thing.
Yeah, they're supposed
That's all it
to,
is.
but I'm just saying though, are they really? Because think about it, when Hillary went against Trump, right? Everyone voted for Hillary, but yet still Trump won. Why? Because the electoral college casted their vote and most of them voted for Trump. Same thing happened back in Bush's term. I was a young kid at the time, but I do remember that there was a thing going on saying he cheated or whatever. But you look at the electoral, you looked at the voting, and you see that the population voted for the other guy, and the electoral college voted for Bush. So they were at odds there. I'm not saying that our vote can't be used as a statement, but at the end of the day, who's watching them vote? No one. So they can have their own agenda. They can run their own agenda, and I do believe that the government
So you
has been
just
running their own agenda.
illustrated the need to get rid of that electoral college, which Democrats
Yes,
have been
I
talking
do
about.
believe that. I do
Yeah.
believe we should get rid of the electoral college because at the end of the day, they do not have our best interests. They have their own. Because see, if their buddies or friends or relatives are people who own major corporations or starting major corporations, whatever the case may be, then they're going to favor what runs their pocket, so to speak.
Yeah,
So
it's a big
I
problem.
do agree they should
I
totally
don't
get rid
believe
of the electoral college.
I don't believe in that. Like I said, I understand both sides of the argument. I'm not gonna say I don't. But the way the electors in each state are handled, it's not like the electors just saying, "Hey, look, they tried to do it in 2020."
Yes, they did.
But it's not like the electors saying, "Hey, look, we just gonna vote for whoever the hell we want." No, it don't work that way. The people in each individual state vote based on that popular vote, either the governor or the
Legislative.
secretary of the state, then certifies that election and gives it to the electors to officially, ceremoniously vote for said president based on the popularity of the vote. That's the way it works. I mean, it's not like your vote don't count. The electors must represent the population of the state. The population of the state varies from state to state based on how many people.
True.
Per the census.
But my brother, you can't sit here and say that the government don't lie a lot.
I have no evidence of that. That's hearsay at the end of the day.
We can go way
I don't
back
go off hearsay.
Way back when they first emancipated the slaves. What was we supposed to get? 40 acres and a mule. I don't see none of our ancestors or relatives with any type of land of that degree or anything, or not even a donkey, not even a cat, not even
Hey, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that, but that ain't got nothing to do with the electoral college.
No, but I'm just giving an example of like the degree that the government will go to lie just to get their way.
Not only that, they stole 10 million acres from black farmers.
Oh yeah, Black
from the
Wall
30s
Street,
to the 60s. 10 million acres.
That one lake, I forgot what it's called, but they flooded a lake just to get rid of black-owned businesses, just to get rid of black.
Hey, they're my ancestors, Lake Lanier. They're my ancestors, direct lineage.
Lake Lanier, that's what it is. Yeah,
Hey, I get all of that, but like I said, the question was regarding the electoral college. I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah. No, I got you. I don't
All
want
right,
to get
so
too far into it.
Since we're talking about votes and the electoral college and the importance of votes and whatnot, let's look at this video showcasing some pivotal Senate races that could really affect the presidency as well. So let's take a look at this, and we'll have the panel's take on it when we get back.
Donald Trump from trying to sabotage another election, a Senate that upholds the Constitution. The senators we elect in November will certify the presidential election results on January 6th, 2025. If Kamala Harris becomes president, they'll also be key to advancing her agenda and confirming her nominees. If Democrats win the following 8 races, they can maintain their narrow control of the Senate. Let's break it down. In Ohio, Senator Sherrod Brown is a populist on the side of working people. He has a track record of standing up to big banks as chair of the Senate Banking Committee, cracking down on corporate landlords, and he supports codifying Roe v. Wade. He's also been a voice for railroad safety regulation after the East Palestine crash. Brown's opponent, Bernie Moreno, is a MAGA Republican and businessman who has faced over a dozen wage theft lawsuits. Moreno has supported a federal abortion ban. He's also parroted Trump's and Vance's racist lies about Haitian immigrants. In Montana, Senator John Tester wants to codify Roe and protect birth control and IVF access. And as one of the Senate's only working farmers, he wants to fight corporate monopolies in the meatpacking industry. Tester's opponent is another Trump-backed MAGA businessman named Tim Sheehy. He wants to ban abortion, has been caught on tape making racist comments, and despite running on his business prowess, resigned from his company after it reported a $77 million loss. In Wisconsin, Senator Tammy Baldwin is a progressive champion who supports reproductive freedom and authored legislation cracking down on big pharma price gouging. She previously made history as the first out LGBTQ senator. She's running against Eric Hovde, a Trump-endorsed millionaire banker who primarily resides in California. In Pennsylvania, Senator Bob Casey has been a leading critic of corporate price gouging and was an original sponsor of the PRO Act, which would strengthen union rights. He's running against another Trump-backed businessman named David McCormick, the former CEO of a major hedge fund. No wonder McCormick wants to make Trump's tax cuts for the rich permanent. In Nevada, Senator Jackie Rosen is running on raising the federal minimum wage, passing universal paid leave, and codifying Roe. Her opponent, Republican Sam Brown, has said his anti-abortion views are, quote, non-negotiable. He also supported Florida's radical Don't Say Gay bill and opposes common sense gun reform. In Arizona, current Congressman Ruben Gallego is a veteran running for the state's open Senate seat. He says he'd waive the Senate filibuster to codify Roe. He also supports common sense gun reforms, raising the minimum wage, as well as protecting and expanding voting rights. He's running against Carrie Lake, a MAGA fanatic who tried to overturn the governor's race she lost in 2022.
Did you lose the 2022 election for governor?
Why are we looking backward? I'm looking forward, Caitlin.
Because
I already
you've yet
know
to
what you're
concede that race.
Caitlin, I'm looking forward to what is coming up. I'm looking forward to November 5th and this huge election. How are we going to make sure we secure the border? What can we as Republicans do to make sure we bring back that thriving economy where we had record low unemployment?
So you're not going to say whether or not you lost the 2022 race. Is that what I'm hearing?
You know what, Caitlin? You've seen thousands of interviews from me. I've answered that a million times. I'm looking forward.
You've actually yet to answer the question directly on whether you believe that you did lose the election.
Well, I want to make sure our elections are run properly, and I'm still in litigation, so I don't want to speak to that, but I do want to look forward. And it's so funny that the media, Caitlin, hold up. The media can't get over it. You say I can't get over it, and it looks like you can't.
I don't think I said that. I just said you haven't conceded the race. And I know you mentioned your litigation. You filed multiple lawsuits. Have any of those lawsuits been successful?
Hold up, Caitlin. All across this country.
Do you think people care if you're willing to accept the results of an election that was free and fair and that you filed multiple lawsuits that have not gone anywhere? And I should note, a defamation lawsuit that was filed against you, you did not contest it from a top Arizona election official that says you lied about him repeatedly.
Well, I think what you meant to ask is Carrie, things are really tough right now. And I know that people that are watching. These are the questions I meant to ask with all due respect. I'm conducting this interview, but you're not answering those questions. And if that's your answer, that's fine. I just wanted to follow up on that. I think what you meant to ask is how can we get through this difficult time where people are pouring across our border and people can't afford to live right now? It's independent.
Can I ask you, in that race, when you look at the numbers in your state, Donald Trump is running ahead of Vice President Harris in that state. You're running behind Ruben Gallego by a few points, according to the numbers. We'll see if they bear out. Of course, it's polling. Yeah. But why do you think that is? Why do you think there are supporters who say that voters that say they want to support Donald Trump, but also Ruben Gallego over you?
I don't really think those voters exist. I actually look at the good polling, our internal polling, which shows I'm ahead a little bit, and this is a tied up race. So I'm actually looking forward to the election. It's going to be a voter turnout election, and right now we're seeing a great turnout with Republicans, much higher than Democrats right now, and then we're going to see people show up on Election Day as well. But what I really want to do is get to securing our...
She's appeared at QAnon and white nationalist-tied events and has a history of violent rhetoric.
We are going to put on the armor of God. Then maybe strap on a Glock on the side of us just in case.
In Maryland, Democrat Angela Alsobrooks has pledged to eliminate the filibuster entirely, to codify Roe. She supports expanding the child tax credit and passing universal paid family and medical leave. Alsobrooks is running against Republican former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan. Hogan claims to be a moderate, but was recruited to run by Mitch McConnell. And while governor, Hogan vetoed legislation expanding abortion rights. He also praised Trump's Supreme Court picks as, quote, incredible justices after they overturned Roe v. Wade. In Michigan, current Democratic Congresswoman Lisa Slotkin has called for reforming the filibuster to codify Roe, pass gun reforms, and protect access to IVF treatments. Her Republican opponent for the state's open seat is former Congressman Mike Rogers, another so-called moderate. Rogers celebrated the Dobbs decision, overturning Roe. He also co-sponsored bills that would have banned and criminalized abortions, restricted IVF access, and revoked FDA approval of mifepristone. Some moderate, huh? Winning those races could maintain the Senate's current 50-50 split, with the Democratic vice president as the tiebreaker, giving Democrats the majority. Now, there's also a chance that Democrats could win an outright majority by flipping at least one Senate seat now held by Republicans. Their best chance is in Texas. Democratic Congressman Colin Allred would vote to codify Roe and supports a national paid family leave program. He reached across the aisle to help pass the first meaningful federal gun reform in 30 years, following the Uvalde tragedy. He's also a former NFL linebacker who could finally tackle MAGA Republican fanatic Ted Cruz, leaving Cruz plenty of time to vacation in Cancun. And don't forget that Cruz read green eggs and ham on the Senate floor to filibuster the Affordable Care Act.
Do you like green eggs and ham?
And in Nebraska, independent candidate Dan Osborne is a union leader who helped organize a strike of 1,400 Kellogg's employees. Osborne wants to fight corporate consolidation in the food system, legalize cannabis, and he supports reproductive freedom. He has a chance to beat Republican Senator Deb Fischer, who is endorsed by Trump and voted against the right to birth control and the right to IVF. If you live in any of these states, your vote could make the difference. If you live elsewhere, you can still donate, volunteer, and share this video with friends in those states. Winning the White House is absolutely crucial, but it's just one part of the fight to push a people's agenda and save our democracy from Donald Trump and his MAGA agenda.
All right, so there we go. A rundown of some critical Senate races happening next week during the election. All the more reason why it's even more important to vote. Ted Cruz is just a walking embodiment of showing why people don't vote, why people don't pay attention to what's going on in politics, is why Ted Cruz has a career that he's had for so long. It's ridiculous. That guy should have been dead in the water a long time ago, but he's still there. He is facing a little bit of trouble here in Texas with his opponent, and it's going to be interesting to see if he can finally be kicked out. MD, what do you think here about some of these Senate races coming up next week?
Yes, sir. So first of all, let me say shout out to you, Venkat. Finally, you played a progressive that I actually like. Robert Reich is the truth. Now I like him. Now you got to play more of him and get out of the TYTs and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Stick with Robert Reich. He cool. So just keep that in your back pocket. I'm surprised they didn't have the Florida race in there. I'm surprised because I know we talked about it a few weeks back, but McCursil Powell been gaining ground. She's been, like I said, I don't know. It still might be a long shot, but she's been gaining ground. I like the campaign that she's been running.
Just the fact that it's this close is big enough. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
she's like within 2 points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hey, man. Hey, some people might still look at it as a long shot, but hey, shout out to her campaign. She's doing an excellent job. Now, I'll say this. I remember when Biden was still in the race, and I was saying that Trump, even though he may win the election, that he was going to essentially be a lame duck based on the fact that at the time I believed that the the House was going to go back Democratic and they were going to be able to maintain the Senate. I'm disappointed in the way that the DNC has campaigned these Senate seats. I'm very disappointed. They have done a terrible job at actually doing hardline campaigns for these Senate seats. They a little bit better job on the House side, which I get. But on the Senate side, I believe it's going to be a flip. Essentially, what I believe is going to happen is the two chambers of the Congress are going to flip. I think the Democrats will take control of the House, Republicans will take control of the Senate. Because essentially, if you lose one seat, it's over. It's over as far as your majority. I believe Moreno is going to win in Ohio. The way Ohio looking right now is just not a good look. The Ruben Gallego and Carrie Lake, you already know, like Carrie Lake is terrible. She's terrible, bro. Nobody. I don't give a damn if you're a Republican or not. Nobody's voting for Carrie Lake. I think the last time I checked, in that race, like the polls, which I give more credence to state polls than I do national polls. I believe the last time I checked in that poll, it was like 11. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, she's gonna get washed in that race. Not to mention that's gonna be important due to the fact that you got a person like, what's her name, Venkat? Kirsten Sinema. With her going independent, you know, it's needed. Even though she still caucuses with the Democrats, you got to have that other.
I can't stand her.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
two-faced.
you gotta yeah, you gotta put that Democrat in that seat. Another race that's important that I think the Republicans are gonna end up winning is the Montana race. John Tester, everything that I know about him, like he's a great person. Like he's the embodiment of what Montana is. I mean, a farmer. He do everything, and for him to lose to that guy shows you the amount of gaslighting in a lot of these red states. Yeah. Like I said, man, I do believe that the houses are gonna flip. The Senate, I think it's gonna go majority Republican. It might be only one or two seats, but I think it's gonna happen. I think it's too many important races in a lot of key states where a lot of people might basically split their ticket. I think I even seen a commercial in Maryland. Larry Hogan, that's another guy. A lot of people like Larry Hogan because they like that moderate way that he governed in Maryland. Maryland is a very democratic state. Yet Larry Hogan was a Republican governor. Why is that? Because a lot of his policies are looked at as liberal. That might, for also Brooks, that might be the kill shot. And you know, I don't know. Is he an undercover MAGA maniac? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But in that sense, that might be another seat that go to the Republicans. So the way it's looking on the Senate side, yeah, it ain't looking too good. Because like I said, you can't afford to lose any seats, like none. Now again, now the ultimate dark horse, and Robert Wright spoke on it. The ultimate dark horse is that Colin Allred race. If he end up beating Ted Cruz, I'm telling you, Texas might 2028. Texas might be a swing state. I'm gonna just be honest. Look at the demographics in Texas now. It's that time. And if Texas end up becoming a swing state, it's gonna change the trajectory of politics as we know it, because Texas is that big of a deal as far as just sheer number. So if that happens,
they have a lot of electoral college numbers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if that happens, and Colin Allred somehow win that race, man, Republicans gonna be in a bad way.
Yeah, because you'll be getting, as a Democrat, California, which is huge, probably the biggest piece on the whole map, and then Texas. Those are two big pieces right there.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, thanks, MD. Ricardo, what do you think about these Senate races coming up? Do you feel like MD feels like it'll be a flip for Republicans and Democrats?
Yes, it's for me. It's a toss-up. He did bring up a number of goals that that I think that I agree on. Texas is turning purple for the past for the past 4 years. A lot of people realize the last guy, I can't remember his name, that the Democrats were like, ranting and raving about, came close, but he didn't quite,
Beto O'Rourke.
Is that?
Yeah, Beto O'Rourke in Texas. He almost won. He was so close.
He was like, and I knew he wasn't going to win, but it was. Probably Texas in, like MD mentioned, probably by 2020 will probably flip, be a swing and be a purple. And interesting because it will dynamics of how the political map will look like. The Republicans are prepared for that. I wouldn't be surprised either if our state, Florida, actually becomes a swing state as well, because Scott, I think he has a lot of money. Like Van Cat, if you put two and two together, you realize how much money this guy has. But I think his opponent has done a great job in pinpointing much he's like a snake in what he is, and it's resonating a lot with a lot of people. So don't be surprised if the Democratic ticket actually comes into fruition here in Florida, because I think he's done a remarkable job in the past week getting galvanizing a lot of people to vote. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm sick and tired of the Scotts, the Ted Cruz, all those people. I think it's time for a wake-up call. I think you might get that. It'll be interesting to see how it works out for like compared to the midterms. I don't know if the Democrats have much for the House again. See, it's kind of looking like questionable, but the House and the Senate to me is awesome. I don't know, because people are very finicky and fickle when it comes to elections. So I'm always surprised. What I look forward to actually tonight is to see how much the House, the Senate gains or loses, because it's your perspective of how much the country is making a point. So that I'm looking for. I'm all curious to see how California goes, even though it's predominantly Democratic. There has been a lot in California that are like a little bit leaning towards being Republican. I don't know why, but it seems like there's a lot going on in California that a lot of people are not happy in terms of the crime and that. But we'll see again. I just think it's a toss-up. That woman, just watching that piece with that CNN the CNN commentator like going like doing her actual journalistic job was like fantastic to watch. And then every single tried to change the topic of not answering whether or not she ratify if she's lost the race or not, or if she's verifying, and how many lawsuits there is. It goes to show how much the MAGA group, this is what they do. They spin things in the narrative, and if you listen long enough, you start believing the crap that they. So it's like fun to just see her taunt her and poke at the bear and still not be like, I'm not giving up. And that's what they all need to be doing. They should have been doing this election cycle. They didn't do that much. Like for me, I think Trump is on the scene of radar there. Like I think we should have been calling him out. Like just when he was calling out Joe Biden for being sleepy and all this stuff and being in the basement, we should have been saying the same thing. Like, coming across, all this stuff. But a lot of people seem to be terrified of him. I don't know why, but this is your job. As journalists, you need to call out the bullcrap when you see it. But all in all, to bring back in the whole cycle, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but that's the few watching election night in the Senate and House race. That gives me an idea early on around the 8 o'clock hour as for how it will look like. Same thing happened in the midterms, and that's what I look forward to. Everything else is just fodder for me, like, knowing how much votes the president race is going to look like. I don't care for none of that. I just need to see what the Senate and House records look like in terms of votes, and then that gives me an indication of how the night will go coming this Tuesday. So, we look forward to that, and I'll see what happens. And MD, I'm looking forward to that watch party that you're planning to have, because we haven't had one, so other than watching the debates. So we'll see what happens.
All right, thanks, Ricardo. Patrick, what are your thoughts here on these Senate races that are coming up next week during the election?
I think that Kamala Harris has even beat expectations on her campaign. When I first came on your show, my disappointment is that they didn't do the Vote Swiftly tour and they didn't get Liz Cheney to run. But anytime you need a sweep to keep the Senate, that's bad news. And if they would have, they have the money to pay for her concerts. She would have made another $500 million, even if they paid for their concerts. If she would have had a concert in Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Florida, that would have guaranteed the election. And if Liz Cheney won, that's just four. And then do a concert in the other 8 states that we need the senators to win. It would guarantee it. And then Billie Eilish endorsed Kamala for president. Could you imagine what the people would do if it was a Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift concert? So, when you're in this kind of thing, you gotta make it happen, no matter what the cost. You gotta pay for that. And so, without her being 13%, I'm worried. And anytime you have to run the table, I'm worried. If we squeak out Texas, it's over. But, if we don't, we kiss our country goodbye. It will be a disaster from day one. Because all the mental patient has to do is write an executive order that he doesn't have to run for president again. Or he's not going to support Ukraine or anything he wants to do. And he would do it because he believes that he is the chosen one, as he said. So I don't like it. We're here. She's done as good as she can do. And we just wait and see. But it's too close. It's too close for me. I think because he has no new hits, and the fact that a lot of Republicans are turning against him, and the people face exhaustion for Trump, and that he might lose. But it's not just him losing. We have to gain the House, and we have to keep the Senate. But I'm going to agree, if you don't believe it, with MD, that we probably gain the House and lose the Senate. But I hope not. And then they learned. We don't have no Herschel Walker in this race. We don't have no Dr. Oz in this race. And they learned, and you wouldn't even know the senators were endorsed by Trump because they avoid Trump like the plague. Because they know if he's right next to them, everything Trump touches dies. And if he was endorsing them publicly and in rallies, they'll lose their campaign. And they learned from the last election that they can't be nowhere near him. So that was smart of them to do that. But that's all I got.
All right, thanks, Patrick. So we're gonna go into one more video and then the lame duck. So this video is, we always hear Trump talk about illegal immigrants, how illegal immigrants are so bad, they need to be kicked out the country. And his supporters, they go all in on that. Well, what if a Trump supporter became an illegal immigrant and they didn't even know it until way, way later in their life? Let's take a look at this video.
Welcome back. Well, new here tonight, he spent his entire life living and working in the United States. But when it came time to collect his Social Security benefits, one Florida man says he has not received one penny. Instead, he got a surprise reality check. The government told him he's not who he says he is. And now he's been fighting to prove them wrong. I-Team investigative reporter Katie LaGrone shares his story tonight.
Outside Jimmy Class's mobile home in Clearwater.
Symbols of American pride hang not just front and center, but on the side of his home, in the back. America is, after all, the only home this 66-year-old has ever known.
I moved to the U.S. in 1959.
How long have you been here?
64 years.
But after more than a half of a century in the U.S., where he's lived, worked, went to school, got married, had kids, paid his taxes,
Mr. Class, you will be entitled to retirement benefits.
even voted, Class says in 2020,
Instead of receiving my first check,
he discovered
I didn't have any thoughts.
he's not a U.S. citizen.
I just was like blindsided.
Class says it all came to light after he applied for the Social Security benefits he paid into his entire working life.
You gotta be kidding me. 1 month you tell me I should expect my first check, second Wednesday of 2020, but instead I get a letter stating that I haven't proven to them that I'm here legally.
You see, Class was born in Canada, his mom Canadian, but his father American, born and raised in New York.
This is Dad?
Yep, that's Dad.
The family moved to the U.S. when Class was 2 and stayed here.
That's me as a Boy Scout.
In America.
In America.
As he got older, he says he just assumed he, too, was American, a dual citizen. Documents he laid out for us are a glimpse of his deep roots in the U.S.
This is when you know you're old, when the old driver's licenses were paper.
Roots, he says, were never questioned. Not when he got his Social Security card, driver's license, or voter registration card.
I've been voting for over 40 years. I guess I'm in a lot of trouble.
Class was even approved to serve as a Marine for the U.S. military.
I signed up to defend this country.
And work for the New Jersey State Police. His citizenship status, never an issue, he says.
The only thing they asked me for was my Social Security card and my driver's license.
After he learned he wasn't really a U.S. citizen, he formally applied for status, but was denied. U.S. Immigration Services wouldn't share details with us, stating they don't talk about individual cases. But in this 2022 denial letter, the agency stated Class didn't provide enough evidence to prove his father lived in the U.S. for 10 years before Class was born, a requirement.
I've seen a handful of cases like this. They don't come around every day.
Indira Demine is a Fort Myers-based immigration attorney. She says Class's case is a reflection of a large, complicated, and changing U.S. immigration system that can't always accurately track who's here legally, illegally, or somewhere in between.
For many years, the DMV, the different agencies didn't necessarily communicate with each other. And so the documentation that you need to renew your driver's license or for the Social Security benefits were not as stringent as they are now.
How did he get issued a Social Security card, though?
That's a good question. Quite possible that back then, the requirements to have a social is just not the same as it is today.
So is it fair, though, that he was issued a Social Security card, he got his Social Security taxes withheld, he worked all of his life, he paid his taxes?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
His father lived in the United States for 10 years before Class was born, which is a requirement for a child seeking citizenship through a parent. Class contacted Senator Marco Rubio's office for help and hired an immigration attorney and even a genealogist who found records linking Class's dad to the U.S. in the years before he was born. Still, his fight continues to this day. By voting as a non-U.S. citizen, Class broke federal law each time he voted in an American election. So just to recap here, he finds out he's not a citizen, gets denied Social Security, then tries to become an official citizen, and then gets denied again, to add insult to injury. So if I were him, I would be absolutely pissed off, and I genuinely do feel bad for him because he was brought here as a child through no fault of his own. He's lived and worked here his entire life. For all intents and purposes, he's an American. And of course, he should be given the Social Security that he paid into all of his life. The fact that that's even a question is outrageous to me. But it's sad that he seemingly doesn't have the same sympathy for other people in his position. And I say this because, if you couldn't tell already, this man is a Trump supporter. In fact, he has a Trump poster displayed proudly on his front door, who rose to popularity, by the way, because of his hawkishness on the issue of immigration. Now, he's just a single person. He has no power, so I'm not going to be overly tough on him. But it is ironic that after Trump lied about millions of undocumented immigrants supposedly voting for Democrats in federal elections, one of the few instances where we have a non-citizen voting, well, it happens to be one of Donald Trump's supporters. And I think that this also speaks to a broader trend of conservatives not caring about an issue until it affects them personally. And Jimmy isn't the first person who's found himself in this predicament. For example, in 2014, Mario Hernandez, an Army veteran and federal employee, wanted to celebrate his retirement from the U.S. Bureau of Prisons by taking a cruise. The problem was, it was the first time he was leaving the country, and he had to apply for a passport. But when he tried to get an American passport, he found out he wasn't actually a citizen. There's another man named Raul Rodriguez who found out that his birth certificate was actually fraudulent, and he was actually not a U.S. citizen. He was a Mexican citizen, despite literally being responsible for the deportation of thousands of people himself during his tenure as an agent for U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. And as a result, he lost his job, his law enforcement friends, and his sense of self, apparently. And to that I say, may he be given the same amount of sympathy as he gave to the thousands of people that he deported. But in general, this demonstrates why empathy is so important, right? All too often, conservatives don't give a fuck about any issue unless it affects them personally. And when it comes to Jimmy, I am curious to know if he's had a change of heart at all about Trump, or at least has been a little bit more introspective about Donald Trump. I'm assuming no, since he still has the Trump poster on his door. But I mean, you're part of the problem. When Trump whines about immigration incessantly, you're also included there. Now, of course, the subtext is that he's a white guy, and in our deeply white supremacist country, we don't treat all immigrants the same. We treat white immigrants very differently than black and brown ones. So I'm assuming, and I don't know for sure if this is what he thinks, but I'm assuming that he would think he's different than the other immigrants because, he did it the correct way, or he just didn't know he made a mistake, whereas everyone else, they're coming here illegally on purpose, and that's bad, right? But I am curious to know whether or not he's had any change of views. But one thing has certainly changed, at least when it comes to his perception of America. And since learning that he's not a citizen, he's pretty pissed, and he is actually thinking about leaving America.
I worked my 50 years, and I paid into my Social Security. They should be paying me.
What happens if this doesn't get resolved?
Well, I guess they get to give my money to someone else.
Will it make you look at America differently?
I'll probably move back to Canada.
You would consider leaving?
Yep. And say bye-bye, America.
All right. So there we go. Very strange scenario, but the tables turned on a Trump supporter, a MAGA supporter. So, MD, what do you think about this man's story?
I mean, yeah, man, it's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's an illegal at the end of the day. Hey, man, it's jacked up, but it is what it is. But it shows you the how the system, the immigration system, is essentially broken, and how it needs to be fixed. Now, we had an opportunity to alleviate a lot of these problems last year. Last I checked, there was a bipartisan bill that was established and brought forth to the floor, and MAGA Mike Johnson shut it down because Trump told him to do it. There's going to be, and again, look at it from the perspective of who these people are, what they do when they come to the country, and how they need to be put in a place of facilitation when it comes to the assets put in and brought out. This person, like the clip said, paid into Social Security, but doesn't have access to Social Security based on citizenship. So what does that say about the system itself? It needs to be fixed. Now, I'm gonna stand indifferent on this situation because, again, I'm a person that stand on law. The law say what it say, but I'm not going to be gullible enough to believe that the institution of the immigration system in this country is a fulfilled establishment. It's not. Never has been. This country is a land of immigrants where these processes weren't even established yet. So what does that say about them? At the end of the day, do I believe he deserved to draw Social Security? Of course. That that would be idiotic to say otherwise. But until you can put together a system that consolidates all efforts put into place, whether it's the processing of immigration, whether it's the facilitation, whether it's the I guess you would say implementation of entitlements, whatever the situation may be, all of this stuff has to be alleviated. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I don't understand that there's an issue, because of course there is. But when we look at things like bureaucracy, when we look at things a lack of manpower and stuff like that, these are the things that's going to alleviate the issue. And until Congress can understand this, it's going to be a revolving door. I don't care what you do. I don't care if it's Trump, Kamala Harris. It don't matter. If we can't establish a working wheel as it pertains to the immigration system, it's always going to be this way. That's just a fact. Whether you're legal or illegal, whether you're a migrant, asylum seeker, whatever, it's always going to be this way. And for the most part, it's always going to be this way based on the fact that money make the world go round. And as long as companies can take advantage, or some people will say, quote unquote, exploit this manpower, why would they get rid of it? That's why the people that believe that Trump gonna mass deport all these people are idiots. I'm gonna just keep it real. If you believe that, like I said, I got some beachfront property to sell you in Las Vegas. That's just a fact.
All right, thanks, MD. Ricardo, what do you think of this man's story? Not being an illegal immigrant while being a Trump supporter at the same time.
I have I have 3 words to say about this. Actually, 2. Blame Canada. I mean, have you not learned from South Park where they literally sang the damn song "Blame Canada, Blame Canada"? I mean, how did his daddy not know that he was supposed to claim citizenship, naturalize that for his son? But I digress. Yeah, he has to, just like the system says, and a lot of times I hear a lot of people, ironically enough, he's a white guy, that usually says stuff like this and not realize how the system works. It is very flawed, but he has to prove to them that his daddy has been living in this country for 10 years, and neither the system, in terms of the departments, work hand in hand candidly to verify information. That's just typically how it works. It's always been that way. So he literally will have to prove his point. Now, like MD says, has he done his contribution towards this country and, should be, paid his Social Security? Absolutely. The system, however, is very effed up. It's just one of those things where it needs to be fixed, and it's going to take bipartisan. I can't even say the word properly tonight. This is to show you how much I'm literally like hoping this will come into fruition, where they could work together. Bipartisanship, in general, for this to be fixed. Will it be as simple as it sounds? Probably not. There's bureaucracies and red tapes and all this crap that literally has to go hand in hand before this thing can be fixed. But I feel his pain. It's one of those things where, a lot of times, and you've seen in the clip, a lot of people think, oh, I'm an American citizen. And when they go in to vote and do all these things, it's like they found out to be not naturalized. And it's one of those things where it's the country's laws come into play here. They will kick you out. It sucks. It needs to be fixed. It's very flawed. It's very antiquated. A lot of things that needs to be addressed, but here we are. We're here discussing it now. And would it move the needle forward? I doubt it. But I will say this: those people that are out there that thinks it's an easy process to be naturalized in this country, it's very expensive. When I mean expensive, it costs money. So when I hear you go on and talk about, oh, hey, get out of this country and you shouldn't be here, mind you, these are American citizens they're talking to. Do understand the process of what being an immigrant like, and the naturalization process, and how much you pay into the system and how much it goes into like getting citizenship. Imagine not being born here. It literally costs, I believe, don't quote me, $900 to get a citizenship certificate if you're born out of the country to like an American parent. It costs money. So there's a lot that goes into this thing where it needs to be by both the Democrats and the Republicans. I just don't see that coming through anytime soon. It's one of them, issues that I feel like it dog whistles to certain people and it does certain things to certain people, and it just nobody knows or wants to fix it. The DACA group, the people that are here, and people who have parents that are illegal and are born in this country or not. It's there's so much that goes into this whole. It's very connected, but I just hope that our mega people vote, and they can't vote because of whatever the reason. This is what it's like for a typical person to go through, and it's not a pretty picture. So I don't even know what else to say, but it sucks to be him. But let's just hope the law works in his favor, and if it doesn't, well, sorry, tough luck, kiddo.
Hey, Vancat, look at the comments. You see them? Who is man? Look at them comments by Manny B.
Yes, I saw it earlier. Hey, I don't want to censor nobody. She's trying not to talk her way out of the White House because the more she talks, the worse she looks. I don't know how. She's not ready for that type of job. She's literally doing the next to the next job. How can she not do that job? That's weird. The Dems effed up our trust. Okay, so the Republicans earned it, I guess. Like it's a democracy. We voted Joe Biden for president, not Kamala. So now we're pro Joe Biden all of a sudden. These magical revisionists, all of a sudden, they're all Joe Biden now. I never seen so much pro Joe in my life. Joe can't run anymore. Huh? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, hey, Manny B, let me ask you, when did we start doing primaries, presidential primaries? Answer me that question. I'll give you time to Google
it. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, hey, they can come on the panel and defend their position.
All you have to do is research and get a context of like what your argument is, right?
Yeah.
Traditionally, we didn't pick anybody. The parties themselves picked through the delegations.
Yep.
In the conventions. That's how it's always been.
Yep.
It wasn't until 1968 until we actually started having primaries that you could actually vote in. We didn't pick nobody. The parties picked. That's how it's been. That's how it's constitutionally set up.
Yep.
I didn't pick no Joe Biden to do nothing. But hey, he was in the primary. Cool. I vote for him. Well, actually, no, I didn't vote. I voted for Marianne Williamson in the primary. So there's that. I ain't complaining.
Yep.
So hey, it is what it is. Like, just a history lesson real quick.
All right. So Patrick, what are your thoughts here on the video we just saw with this Trump supporter here?
Hey, why doesn't he call Trump and have Trump fix that?
He called Marco Rubio. He's still waiting.
Yeah, oh Lord, Marco Rubio can't read. And man, and then he gonna say, "Oh well, I'll leave." Like somebody care. You hurting yourself to leave. You've been here 60 years. I mean, it's really sad, but I'm with. Oh boy, you're a Trump supporter. You don't deserve no remorse. All Trump family, all his wives are immigrants. When does he speak out against his Russian wife? All his wives are immigrants, except for what's her name? Look at all his anchor babies. So, and then who I'm sad about is the border patrol agent who was deporting people and then found out he's not an American.
You can't make this stuff up, folks.
They should do a movie about him. And at least they didn't kick him out the country. So I'm like, wow. I mean, they should make a movie about that guy. And you in with the big dogs, you taking people out the country, then you find out you need to be shipped out when you lived here your whole life. So
Yeah, where's
that's
the GoFundMe at? Like Trump should have set up the GoFundMe. Like,
yeah.
hey, we got this patriot here that's illegal, but he served our country well. GoFundMe for his Social Security.
He wouldn't pay for the Hispanic soldier that got
The
killed.
funeral.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
got unalived. He wouldn't pay, and then he was mad because she was Mexican.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
don't you know it don't cost them $60,000 to bury no damn Mexican? What's wrong
Yeah,
with you?
I mean sadists, like the psychologists say,
Roll
sadists.
them up, roll their ass up in a burrito and put them
And,
in the dirt.
and MD 2020,
Burrito.
he will try to deport 11 million people because that'll give him pleasure. He would look at the TV with the mothers and fathers crying as they're torn away from the children, and some aunt that's a citizen keeping the child. He'll look at that and laugh. You never see him
But
smile. You never see him laugh, but he'll laugh at
but
that.
you misunderstand the premise behind why he did that.
He will
Remember
do it.
what I know he will do it, but remember the context in which he did it. Remember when he set up them detention camps for them people on the border.
Mm-hmm.
Private prisons benefited. It's
Oh
all a
yeah,
money game at the end of the day.
yeah. Because
So he's
nobody
not
cares.
going to deport. He's not going to deport nobody. He might detain them, but somebody gonna make a profit off that detainment, just like the private prisons did.
Yeah, because nobody care where. Because all these states outlawing private prisons, nobody cared that the immigrants were held in private prisons, even though they weren't criminals. Nobody cares.
Yeah, he
Nobody
took all.
watches.
Remember, he took all the Army Corps engineer money and gave it to them private prisons to set up them little tent cities, the little detention camps, and them private prison corporation made a killing.
It all goes
So
back to
it's about money. It's about money. That's it.
Jeff Sessions. His first betrayal. Jeff Sessions had a rule that he was going to arrest 1 million black men and 1 million Hispanic men that year, and that's what his goal was to do, and fill them private prisons up. And then
Well, yeah.
with the COVID and all that, they just put the immigrants in them when the state started outlawing their private prisons.
Well, you see what Trump did to Jeff Sessions.
Yeah, and everybody that goes to Trump somehow thinks I'm not going to be Jeff. And look at all the unalive elephants that laid in his wake. Look at him. Look at Comey. Look at him. Look at Kelly. I mean, and everybody that's in his orbit says it's not going to happen to me. It happens to everybody after a while, except maybe Stephen Miller.
Yeah,
But
it's
Stephen
all
Miller
about
writes
how brown your nose can get at the end of
yeah.
the day.
Stephen Miller writes his speeches. He just put a Hitler quote in there, and I'm happy. So, you know, it's going to be a nail biter. I think he's going to lose, and once he loses, once they figure out that he lost for sure, the FBI is going to arrest him because they know every scheme. Because this guy, he can't just say, "Hey, I'm going to do a good job," and then people will vote for me. That doesn't come in his mind. In his mind is, how can I cheat? He'll do double the work cheating than he would do half the work doing a good job.
That's true. That's his MO.
Yeah, yeah. Let's fight. Let's fight double the work fighting and stealing, and all you have to do is just be a half a decent president or learn. But I work with guys like that on the police department all the time. They are ashamed to pick up a book because that tells the people I don't know something, and that's Trump. He's ashamed to learn because if he says I'm going to learn how to do something, that means there's something he doesn't know. And a narcissist can't believe that it's nothing that he doesn't know. And So yeah, man, I'm with MD. Sucks to be him, and it's sad. But call Trump. Call the man you supported. Let him fix it. That's all I got, man. Cat.
All
Hey,
right.
real quick before you get to the duck, Van Cat, I just saw a post that was disturbing.
Okay.
So Charlie Kirk just posted of a video of a Trump rally happening right now in Puerto Rico, where there's like a I'm serious as a heart attack.
Yeah.
So hey man, the MAGA maniac mentality runs deep. It runs deep.
It's got to
that
be
thing
fake
might
though.
be AI. You
It's
got to
got to be
remember.
fake.
It might be.
It got to be
Yeah,
fake.
you know it's MAGA maniac. So
No,
it's
I
probably
mean, not even
disinformation.
that. It could be, there probably is a rally going on that they shipped people out there to stage some sort of supportive Trump thing going on, and then take pictures and video and then put that on the internet to kind of like quell the idea that there's a bad thing going on with Trump and Puerto Ricans. I could see
Hell,
them
you
easily doing
give me a free trip to Puerto Rico, I'll be a MAGA maniac for a day.
They do. I mean, you see all those white people that came into that black church claiming them they're there for black people rights.
Yeah,
I mean,
you give me a free vacation.
they always doing that. And don't forget that guy that actually went on social media, that white guy talking about I'm a black lady that loves Trump, and he forgot to change his avatar to being a black woman. And oh boy, that was horrible. That's lame duckish.
You got to be careful, MD. He might ship you out there for the event, and then you be on your own on the way back home.
Yeah, I ain't gonna have no way back.
Oh, I can see that happening too.
He ain't gonna
I
have
can
no
see that
buses
happening.
back.
Because he's not
like
gonna pay for
He
the
ain't gonna have no buses
people out
back
there in
home. He was like, you gonna have to swim home.
Yeah, I'll be on the banana boat.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get ready for the lame duck, and we're going into session right now.
First things first, in this lame duck session.
For the United Nations General Assembly to share the extraordinary progress we've made. In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn.
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced.
I'm tired of being quiet.
I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
With great power comes great responsibility.
These lights are so bright in my eyes that I can't see too many people out there. But I can only see the black ones. I can't see any white ones. You see? That's how far I've come. That's how far I've come. That's a long way, isn't it? These eyes. You want to see a bird graveyard? You just go. Take a look. A bird graveyard? Go under a windmill someday. You'll see more birds than you've ever seen ever in your life.
People shouldn't feel ashamed or scared what sign they have in their front yard.
But many residents in Portage County are feeling scared after Sheriff Bruce Zukowski said the following on Facebook about Kamala Harris supporters. Quote, "When people ask me what's going to happen if the flip-flopping laughing hyena wins, I say write down all the addresses of the people who had her signs in their yards. So when the illegal human locust, which she supports, needs places to live, we'll already have the addresses of their new families who supported their arrival." End quote. Those with Harris yard signs in their lawn now feeling intimidated.
A threatening post to me and my wife because we have a sign out here that says who we want to win for president. And it's a threatening implication for those who are immigrants coming in.
The post comes as Zukowski runs for re-election this November, his opponent, John Barber, reacting.
Calling the vice president a terrible name and calling people of immigration status a terrible name, I think pretty much shows some level of, I don't know any other word to use than racism, and it's an unfortunate thing.
Meanwhile, Portage County Commissioner Tony Badalamenti has filed a complaint with the Ohio Attorney General's office.
I believe that if you're a Democrat or Republican and I'm opposite, it's your choice. And I should have the free right and will, without being intimidated, that I can share my beliefs or have a belief in whatever I do.
County, where there is outrage right now over a social media post from the county sheriff.
Yeah, it appears to call for residents to record the addresses of their neighbors who publicly display support for presidential candidate Kamala Harris.
Our Kaitor K is live from Kent right now with more on the controversy. Kaitor, how extreme is this?
Well, many people here in the county are calling it quite extreme. Now, Sheriff Bruce Zukowski became the sheriff of Portage County in 2021. Now, he made these remarks on Facebook and he posted it to 2 separate accounts on Friday night. Now, I'll go ahead and read the post in their entirety so that you all understand the full context. It says, quote, "When people ask me what's going to happen if the flip-flopping laughing hyena wins, I say write down all the addresses of the people who had her signs in their yards. So when the illegal human locust, which she supports, need places to live, we'll already have the addresses of their new families who supported their arrival." End quote. We spoke to a Portage County resident today who has a Kamala Harris yard sign in his lawn, and he calls the sheriff's post upsetting and threatening.
I was really a bit angry. It felt like somebody's trying to intimidate me because I don't know where it's going to go. We see how this stuff blossoms and moves forward with all that kind of hate. It gets simmering. So yeah, I'm worried about the hate that he's starting to bring out, not just for me, but for people who are coming here as immigrants. What kind of crap is that?
We reached out to Sheriff Zukowski for a comment today, and his administrative assistant says that she would relay our request to him, but we haven't heard back since.
A message on social media has upset voters in Northeast Ohio. Some people say they found a recent Facebook post by their sheriff racist and intimidating, and has some people being a little cautious about putting up political signs on their properties. Morgan Trout reports.
Why would I want to put something in my yard to be targeted for?
Portage County voter David Lindvay says he won't be putting up his Kamala Harris for President sign anymore. Neither is Sheila Longmire.
Saying that he wanted to know the address of everybody that's supporting her, that's crazy. That's scary.
They both say that their county sheriff is trying to intimidate them. On September 14th, Portage County Sheriff Bruce Zukowski posted on both his personal and professional Facebook pages saying, "When people ask me what's going to happen if the flip-flopping laughing hyena wins, I say write down all the addresses of the people who had signs in their yards."
I should be able to vote for who I want to vote for without my safety being violated.
Zukowski, a Republican running for re-election, continued in his viral post. "So, when the illegal human locust, which she supports, need places to live, we already have the addresses of their new families who supported their arrival."
Do I have to be fear of my life? That's I'm talking with you guys or what? I mean, this is kind of crazy because I'm a different color.
We reached out to Zukowski and the sheriff's office, but didn't hear back. The county GOP chairperson, Amanda Suffolk, sat down with us to defend his perspective.
If he'd have been just boring, no one would be talking about this. So this puts it front and center. Is illegal immigration illegal? And do people within the county, within the state care about it? And indeed they do.
We asked her specifically about his remarks on the VP and immigrants.
He called her a laughing hyena. So there's no racist statement in that. Of course he did. I mean, we've always had caricatures in politics.
Still, she says this wasn't voter intimidation, just a way to start a conversation.
Is this something that you should be fearful of? And no, he took artistic license, got some attention.
Local officials on each side of the aisle are upset about this and Suffolk's response. According to Tony Badalamenti, a Republican county commissioner, there is nothing they can do to hold Zukowski accountable for spreading fear throughout the county.
No commissioner has any authority over any other elected official in the county.
However, he told us he's making a personal decision. He has resigned from his role on the GOP Central Committee, a position he worked at with Zukowski.
When somebody says something that was just said on Facebook for everybody to be proud to see, that's very disturbing to the people in Portage County. This is the last straw that I just decided that I would walk away.
Now, both Badalamenti and Lenve are going to vote for the Democrat running against Zukowski, John Barber.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to vote for somebody that violates my privacy.
Morgan Trow with that story. Portage County is about 30 miles south of Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There he is. There he is. Put the spotlight on this big tub of lard, Sheriff Bruce Zukowski, lame duck number 62, trash bag human of the week. Ricardo, what do you think about this piece of trash ass human, Bruce Zukowski?
Oh man, what can I say? Yeah, just wow. Like, we're at a point in this election. I shouldn't even be laughing. Where we're doing intimidation at its finest hour. Like, this is what we're doing. We live in a country, again, MD, it's not a democracy because it's a constitutional republic. Where the rights give us the opportunity to be able to legally protest or assemble or be able to showcase, who we want to vote for. How dare you then tell people that, it's amazing. It's very much intimidation. I don't know what that woman was talking about in the end of the video. She did talking about caricature and all this crap. Lady, please stop. Because we know what intimidation looks like. It's modern day intimidation. For you to then say you want to, if that cackling hyena, you're going to gather all the addresses so that you could send the illegal immigrants here. How would you even know they're illegal? Again, it's like, what's going on here? It's crazy. But he has the nerve and the fortitude to do all of this, Sheriff Bruce Zukowski, because God, you have one of them 90s weird TV show names. Sir, your name sounds like an immigrant name, but I digress. I shouldn't even be saying that out loud. What are you doing? Like, no, we don't do that kind of stuff here. Like, it's like beyond ridiculous at this point. Just for the name of, because just in case she loses, like, your person that you want to pick, you go to great lengths to didn't say that, just in case they don't win. Like, he's, and just I hate to break it to you, he's not gonna win. I don't see it happening. It's gonna be a close election, but I just don't see him winning, because I do predict the women vote will come through in terms of like the women issues and abortion rights and all that crap will come to the forefront, and that's how women will galvanize and vote. And I said that from the onset of TFP coming in its inception. I just don't see it happening for the person you want, the orange blob, the lion in chief person. But that's crazy that you would literally say that out loud. It's like, how are you so emboldened to say these things out loud though? Like, these people have no qualms about them. But with that being stated, screw you. I could give two craps. Why not? I'm not the type of person that will put out signs though to tell people who I vote for. Because again, I'm NPA, which means no party affiliated. But if I have the right to put out my sign out on my front lawn, I should be, more than free to do so without being intimidated by some moron who has an immigrant name to think that he could tell me, everybody else who lives in my county, that I can't vote for whoever I want to vote for. So it's what we live in this country to do. We have the freedom and the rights to do so. But, these people don't think so. So what do we know? But this is where we have to push back on certain things when we see them start happening, because this is like a playbook out of how it used to be back in the days where they intimidate people. And if you were a certain stature or a certain color or a certain group, you were not allowed to vote for this person unless you vote for this person. Nah, it's the freedom of speech, freedom of the option and right to vote, the freedom to assemble. All of this is in our Constitution. So again, we're in a constitutional republic, and you don't have the right to tell me what I can and can't do, because SCOTUS gives us that preamble in our Constitution, and the Constitution was there before SCOTUS. So people, all in all, I just say go and vote for who you want to vote for. You have the right to vote. People have literally died and suffered in the name of the rights to vote. Women got the rights to vote at a certain time. Black folks were able to vote at a certain time. I just feel like if you have the option to vote, go vote. Don't make nobody intimidate you and tell you who you can and can't vote for. Screw them. Screw that thought process. We're in this country and we're given that God-given right. So go vote. So screw you, what's his name? Zakowski. You sound. Let me not do it. I'm falling in that rabbit hole. Let me not do it. But just shame on you, sir. Just shame on you.
All right, Ricardo, thank you. MD, what are your thoughts on this trash bag human number 62 variety?
Yeah, man. This person should lose his job. He really should be arrested on violating his oath of office by uh, violating the people's rights, because what he did was incitement in one fashion and intimidation on the other side. No way should a police officer of any kind be able to get away with anything like that. And I slick want to go ahead and defer to Patrick T, because he worked in law enforcement and he'll be able to better picture it than I can. But yeah, in no way, shape, or form is this acceptable from a civil authority. Like that's crazy. You know, on the other side, there was a story a couple of days ago where I believe it was in Arizona, where a couple of I think they were some teenagers. I don't remember the exact story, but where they was cutting up the Trump signs with the machete. That's a crime. If something is on somebody's property, you violating the law at the end of the day. So it's on both sides. But for this to be a police officer, not only a police officer, the damn sheriff of the police department, saying something like this, I don't care if it was on your personal Facebook page, that don't matter. What you did was incite a bunch of MAGA maniacs to do exactly what that you said on that Facebook post. The fact you're on Facebook is a crime all on its own. But this, like I said, man, the level of craziness that we're about to see, whether Trump wins or loses, is something that we may not ever see again in our lifetime. So, like I said, get your hand baskets ready. It's coming. In 7 days, it's coming. By hook or by crook, right, wrong, and indifferent, it's coming. And these are the type of people that you got to watch out for. Where again, now I'm not saying that there's going to be violence or blood in the street. I ain't going to take it that far. But I'm telling you, the amount of insanity that these people are going to omit through the frequency of being a MAGA maniac is going to be through the roof. So this is only the beginning. But again, for this person to be the sheriff, he directly violated his oath of office, and I believe Patrick T would agree with.
All right, thanks, MD. Patrick, what are your thoughts on Sheriff Bruce Zukowski, trash bag human of the week?
Every last Democrat in that county should file a restraining order against that sheriff. And after they file a restraining order against that sheriff, they should call the Southern Poverty Law Center and say that their voting rights have been violated, and ask them to prepare a complaint to the FBI, both for the KKK Action Act and voter suppression and voter rights violations. Don't play with people like this. And then they should go down to the sheriff office and file a FOI to get every last person that turned in names to the sheriff, and then sue them too, and the sheriff, because the people that turned in either by email or by hand walking in, that'll be it for him in federal court. It'll be over. And they should do it. Don't play with people that play with you. And go ahead, restraining orders. Then he can't do his job, so he'll have to resign because they got a restraining order against the sheriff. Southern Poverty Law Center and lawsuit. And so it won't be a copycat sheriff out there. That's the same thing as burning a cross in someone's yard. It's the exact same thing, but you're burning a political sign, and you're asking Big Brother to watch the people that have a particular sign out. It's the same thing Hitler done with the yellow star. Don't play with him, and hit him up with a couple of Fed charges. And they should do that yesterday.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I ain't even thinking of it like that. By him being the sheriff, the county is directly responsible. So let's say, hypothetically, the people that did have yard signs, they can file a class action lawsuit on the county. Hey, look, my rights been violated by the county because he represents the county.
Yep. Yeah,
my voting rights have been violated.
He'll lose his immunity too.
Yeah, and so the county commissioner, I don't know exactly how they county work, but whoever it may be, the county commissioner. Yeah, gotta get you up out of here, man. We being sued. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it's no different. It's them burning the cross, then burning a political sign. You can't say he's bad because he got a political sign up. So yeah, hit him up. Southern Poverty Law Center, if they're listening. And FBI, every FBI field office has a sergeant on the phone ready to answer your call. Every last one. And the fact that he's still in office, it just amazes me. But this is Trump world. when a mental patient who's a satanic can run for president with 36 felonies, it's the upside down world. What was the world called in Get Out? What was that place called?
Oh, the sunken place.
The sunken place, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm eating dinner with Herschel Walker in the sunken place. Yeah, that's a good one. It is. It's the upside down world in the sunken place. I mean, you can't get a job at a grocery store if you have a felony, but the 34 guy felony, he can run for president.
Yep. Yep.
And the sheriff can say, watch those people with political signs.
That
He's
I don't
stepping,
like. The
yeah,
ones that I don't like.
and he's stepping on the FBI shoes. That's their job to watch people with political signs. They're not gonna go for that. So yeah, yeah. Put the paper on them. That's one thing they don't like. Put the paper on them. Don't and I tell black men all the time, don't fight the police in the street. That's like fighting a shark in the water. Put that paper on them and fight them in court. You don't fight a shark in the water. You're at a disadvantage. You bring that shark on land, then talk junk to him. So, but yeah, he needs to be dealt with, and the only way to deal with crazy um, cops is paper, the pen, mightier than the sword.
That's true. That's very true. So we've come to the point of the show where we are about to do our final sign-offs for the evening. So to start off the final sign-offs, why don't we start with Ricardo? Ricardo, final sign-off, sir.
Yeah, great show, guys. Very compelling episode. There's a lot to discuss. A lot about this party, which they should, because there's a lot of stuff that have done right, but they have not really done correctly, and has done wrong in terms of grievances, not putting their issue I guess in the forefront. With that being stated, please do not waste your ability to vote. So your forefront very hard, long suffered humiliation, gone through process. They were unalived just for the sake of going walking huge amount of just to vote. So this idea that you're not going to vote, it doesn't work for me. I think it's your constitutional right. It's the given civic duty of your citizenship here in this country to vote. Please go out and vote. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care who your particular interest is. Just exercise your right to vote, because it's a civic duty. And think about or look at the ballot, ticket that you have carefully. Review it if you don't know what it is. You have lots of resources at your disposal. You have Google, for crying out loud. Go in and whatever your constituents is or your jurisdiction, look and see what the issue is. For us here in Florida, it's the Amendment 4 and 6. Whether or not we want to legalize marijuana here for whatever reason, or to put abortion forefront of our state, state laws. So that there, it was, judiciary, people at all of that is there. So please exercise your right to vote. I know there's a lot of grievances. I know that people are upset with the Democratic Party or whatnot. I don't care what the issue is. Just vote. Looking forward to the end of the cycle, because God knows it's been a long drawn out one, a lot of shocks and surprises. So let's see what next Tuesday brings. I look forward to it. I love me a good watch party for election night, and we'll see what it brings for Tuesday. We haven't touched on the Middle East. There's a lot that happened, including that post you posted to the MD about the CNN controversy and how CNN now distanced themselves from that guy.
I don't know how we didn't talk about that.
We didn't have enough time.
Yeah, there's a lot that went down today.
That'll be next week. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I thought we could cover, but it's not enough time.
Yeah, there's a lot that we missed today, but please stay in the forefront, guys, of what is happening. It's very imperative that we do. There's a lot of propaganda machine being spun. All in all, just be mindful of how it's being spun to you. Just make sure you do your due diligence and your homework and knowing what it is that's being presented to you, and not, like Mr. Straight Talk says, seek the truth out for yourself, because you just never know. There's a lot of things in this spun. Enough of Medical Bible. great show. Looking forward to next week and the end of the election cycle, and we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Peace.
All right, thanks, Ricardo. Patrick, what's your final sign off, sir?
Everybody go out and vote Democrat. Don't believe the hype. Our home is on the line this election. Absolutely, and the world is on the line this election. Most important election since the first election. Go out and vote. Don't let nobody stop you. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the Hebrew Israelite nonsense about electoral college. You vote in the electoral college. The woman that should be president will win, and she has a lot of help. They're not going to let her go down in flames. She has Obama. She has Biden. She has a ton of help to help her, and she's smart enough to take that help. So go out and vote and continue to vote, and for the future, say I don't care what I have to do, what hoops I got to jump, but I'm going to be ready to vote, and that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Patrick. MD, final sign off, sir.
Hey, look here, man. Hey, the final countdown. Ain't no more talking. No more talking. Put up your dukes and fight. That's where we at now. Next Tuesday, Super Show, TFP, MD's Thought Box. I thought I was gonna be off next week, but I took a couple extra days last week, so I'm gonna work. The plan is to stop early. If I don't, I'll ad lib it until I can stop on TFP, and then as soon as I can get set up and everything, I'm going. I don't know how long I'm going for as long as I can physically go. But it's going to be a hell of a show. We're going to be breaking down all of the races. I'm going to have it right there set up on Google. I'm going to screen share it, and we going to, when a projected winner come up, we're going to break down that projected winner, not only for the president. Well, I doubt we get to the presidential race anyway, but all the congressional seats that land that night, we're going to break those down. We're going to try to get a seat count in Congress. We're going to do all of that. I'm going all, balls to the wall. Full stoppage. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to do it like that. Everybody check us out next week. Tuesday, TFP. Right after that, MD's Thought Box Live with up-to-date coverage of the presidential election night in America. Just like CNN say. So that's what we're going to do. Like I said, we're going to have fun with it. Again, until I fall asleep, we're going to do it. Like I said, I deal with the consequences of working the next day afterwards. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to break this down. Hopefully everybody went out and voted early. If not, get up as early as possible on Tuesday and hit it. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, hey, man, hand baskets. Get your hand baskets here.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
And with that, I say peace. And almost 80,000 people tonight at the Kamala Harris rally on the ellipse, the same spot where Trump incited all those people to overtake the Capitol. The very same spot.
Yeah. That lets you know that's a huge message. That's WrestleMania numbers. Well,
yeah.
That's not WrestleMania numbers are fake, so we're not gonna say that.
Also, one last thing. Let me congratulate Joe Biden. Last hurrah. He had the courage on CNN. I believe it was while we was on the air on TFP to call Trump supporters garbage, because that's what they is. So kudos to Joe Biden.
He can get away with it too, because he's old. Look at he's old. He's on his way out. He's old. He's about to retire and live his last bit of life. Oh man, thanks, MD. Everybody, thanks for everybody coming on to the show today on the panel. We had Patrick. We had
Hey, Cat, one more
yes,
thing.
sir. Yeah.
Hey, when Sinead was talking about getting his moderation back, he said that he want to get off. YouTube got him on shadow ban that suppresses his numbers. And I just want to say, your and Trevor's show, y'all shows are too good to not reflect the numbers that y'all shows should reflect. Because Trevor has some of the best debates on YouTube. And so I wanted y'all to check into that just to make sure YouTube don't got y'all on shadow ban and suppressing y'all numbers, because it doesn't make no sense, because y'all got too many good shows and people that watch your shows talk about them, and so I just want y'all to check on that, because Sonetta said it on his show and he wanted to get off shadow ban and he wants to get his moderation back. So I just want y'all to look into it, because there's no way the debates that Trevor have and the shows y'all got that the numbers don't reflect the quality programming y'all putting out. And that's just my opinion.
Oh, we appreciate that, Patrick. Highly appreciate that. Thanks for everyone tuning in. Thanks for everyone supporting the show. We had Mr. Williams on the panel earlier. We appreciate having him on there. Of course, Patrick. We need to see Jeremy Dunbar. He's our Capadonna, so we hadn't seen him in a while. Hopefully, we'll see him soon. Of course, we got Mike. Mike is right.
Jeremy got his own show sending everybody to hell except for him.
We got Ricardo in the house, Mr. Straight Talk, Tequila, Bones, Wayne, Thinking Black, aka Zay. We appreciate everybody. Maria G, we didn't see her tonight, but peace out to Maria G. Next week is gonna be the election night special. And it's gonna be great. We're gonna have a spectacular first from 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. TFP will be on, and we'll be on from 6:30 to 8. Maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter, depending on MD's availability. And then we'll switch over to MD's channel. That's the MD20. We'll go over to that channel, and then we will continue the coverage from there. So it's going to be a big night, a huge night. We don't know what's going to happen, but it should be a great time nonetheless. For everybody here at Straight Talk Society, I'm Venkat. Tune in tomorrow on this channel, Straight Talk with Trevor, because we got WWR, Wrestling with Reality, and we are doing the final 2 episodes of the Vince McMahon Netflix docuseries. It's been tremendous shows we've been having. If you missed those shows, I please implore you to go back and look at it. Some great commentary from Trevor, from me, from MD. We give our take on the series, 2 episodes at a time, and some very amazing revelations and thoughts that were expressed during those shows. So you really should check that out. If you like wrestling, you're going to love that show. That is Wrestling with Reality, here on Straight Talk with Trevor. Again, I'm Venkat, and for everyone here at Straight Talk Society, we'll see you next week for the election night special. For all my colleagues, have a great evening and good night.
Peace.
Give a fuck!
She just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out, because I don't want to. Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's. That's terrible. Terrible.